What's going on, guys? We are back for another episode of the All About Counter-Strike podcast. It is episode 61. I've got a little bit of a different setup in here because I need to have a camera in a different spot. So you guys might think I'm aligned normally, but my desk is kind of not straight to me.
You see it in the background. That's a little bit...
Yeah, we're like slightly off. That's so obviously my wife can do everything needed with a baby and not be caught on camera throughout all of this. So that is important. But that means also I might look sometimes over here and sometimes over here. So my monitors are on either side of me at this point. So it's been only a few days since we recorded the last episode. Obviously, there's a lot of events back to back just running up into the major. I'll do my usual. It is the 24th of May right now. It's a Sunday. It's beautiful weather over here in Portugal. It's like 27 degrees. We've been having like 30s and 32s. It's been crazy warm. It is 3:01 in the afternoon for Devilwalk. It is 4:01. Is it good weather in Sweden right now?
It's sunny but cloudy, so sun is kind of in and out. But it's you can be outside. It's not cold. It's pretty.
You can be
warm.
outside.
Yeah, you can be outside.
You can be outside. I like that. Like, it's acceptable. You can be outside. You won't freeze to death. That is definitely a positive. Now, on this episode, we got a lot to cover. Obviously, last episode, we didn't cover Atlanta because we already ran 3 hours without even doing Atlanta. We're going to do Atlanta later in the episode. We're first of all going to cover CAC because it's fresh in my mind. We'll be very honest with this as well. I caught almost all of CAC because obviously I'm up early with the baby. I didn't see some of the super early like 4 a.m. matches because that's just crazy hours. That wasn't possible. So a bit of that at the beginning will be scoreboarding, but I saw all of playoffs. I saw all of the crazy situation that happened in the final. I think I'm missing one map of the final as of right now.
And I'll probably be commentating more on following the results rather than having watched the games this time. Because it was a little bit awkward for me. I had some stuff to do during the weekend as well. So, it's been
back-to-back crazy time zone events. Crazy time zone events. It's Atlanta was tough anyway because it was on during Astana. Most people from Europe side were watching Astana anyway, and the better teams were there. But then, on top of obviously covering Atlanta and CAC, we're going to be looking at what's happened with the pick'ems, the stickers, the crazy prices and stuff that, considering I'm normally like very much on the side of Valve and the decisions, this one, this one hurts, man. This is not one I'm personally enjoying, but we'll get into it. We'll get into it all. So first of all, looking down CAC, mate, is I would say that for some teams, it's a really bad look for them going into the major. Like, it kind of shows us that some teams are not going to come in maybe as strong as what even they expected. They haven't shown improvements. It's actually a worrying sign. For some teams who are taking part in it, they're not even at the major. They just had this from when the VRS invites were out and they still bombed out, which means maybe they're looking at changes right now, thinking ahead to the next season. Like, that's what I would be doing. Then some other teams made some positive surprises and some of the likely suspects hit the normal ground running. So first of all, I'm going to start with NRG. I'm not going to go loads of detail on NRG. We had low expectations for them anyway. We did both have them being beaten by Legacy, if I'm correct. Yes, we did.
Legacy
we did both predict
MOUZ.
that. Yeah. No, but I mean, I'm just looking. Yeah, they played Legacy.
Yes,
our predictions. Yeah, so we both were correct on that, but it was a close affair. They did take a map from MOUZ, but then they go out in last place. The problem is Daps had to substitute Bro due to a family emergency. So that's why I'm not going to touch too much on it. It's kind of sad because that's right before the major for NRG as well. Hopefully Bro and his family are okay. Hopefully he comes back to the team so they have a full lineup for the major. That's obviously massively important, but I'm not going to harp on too much about NRG. That's just a quick overview of what results they had, what they went through. I think even with Bro, right, maybe they do slightly better against MOUZ, for example, but their chance is probably not too strong. Now, the first one that I'm going to have a big issue with is 3D Max. We started talking positively about Masuta, obviously the coaching staff, having MBK, what this team can do. Losing to MIBR, obviously MIBR did have a great run at this tournament, but it's the Liquid loss, right? This is a Liquid that we're very down and out on multiple reasons, multiple times of like what this team can do. And 3D Max lost their pick of nuke. They actually had a good chance to win that. I'll say it was obviously fighting back from the CT side. 13-11 is not much of a problem in there. But then winning Dust 2 and losing Inferno. Inferno has been like a staple good map for 3D Max. I remember many good games from them on it. And it just goes to show, like, you're not at the major. You're going through these changes. You've had very up and down performances across the whole year. Before they were gatekeepers, you know? Like, they were the gatekeepers to the top 15, to the top 10 in the world. They were always be able to hang there. They were getting a few playoff positions. But an event like CAC, playoffs is a minimum for what we would expect from them.
It's a terrible team to lose to. Not only, I mean, if you just look at the VRS rankings, you know, at the times of invites, you know, Liquid of 48 with the VRS rank of and 3D Max of 20. That's a massive drop off and a massive loss for them to be dropping down in points in a. Probably it's really important for these teams to kind of get them to that VRS ranking where they keep getting invites, and this could actually, you know, make sure that they, you know, drop down, because they lost a position. They lost 40 or 39 VRS points from this tournament, and that's a big drop for a team like 3D Max, where this is potentially a tournament that they needed to kind of keep themselves in that ranking, considering they will not be playing the major, and then, you know, all the major teams are kind of going to trickle above them, so they'll be in a kind of an awkward position as the major ends.
Yeah, this is it, right? This is where now, like, this was the opportunity for them to gain some extra points, to be in a better position for after the season starts, especially considering they're going to be even further down because of the major, like you mentioned. So this is rough times for them. I'm not sure what the fix is. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, the problem is with the French scene, people keep talking about other players that can come up from the French scene. Maybe there's some people in the comments that will let us know of some young players coming in, but I can't imagine that buyouts for French players are crazy or too difficult. And I can't imagine that any other French players other than Zywoo and Apex would want to join 3D Max, surely, you know? So they should be able to look at some players in the scene as options to upgrade what they have, to make some changes. And that's what I think needs to happen, because Masuda's a recycled player. He's still young. He's definitely capable. We like that move. But they need to make changes to have success. This isn't working.
I mean, the most obvious one is obviously the FaZe stand-in of Nature.
But now he's an international. In my opinion, if you're already looked at as an international player, you don't go to the French scene, right?
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on how this, like, FaZe, because this is kind of like, you know, FaZe is just scrambling to put a lineup together to keep competing at the moment. So we'll see how their kind of roster develops, if Nature has a place in this phase or if he doesn't, because he's otherwise benched on ends and currently on loan for FaZe. So there might be some opportunity depending on how it twists and turns for Nature, but he's definitely an interesting player for a team.
Because he's an interesting player, and because he's a French player who doesn't want to go international, who doesn't want to stay on the French team, right? Who's proven he wants to go international. He has English skills. I don't think you go to a French team. I think if you're a good enough French player who can speak English, you look at international.
Well, from his perspective, yes, but I would say that from 3D Max, this is someone that you could potentially
that they would want
try and want and pick up.
Say, hey mate, we might qualify for the major with you. We might make it to some big events. Come please now, you know, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But he would potentially have better offers for sure. The next team going out in last place as well, 13th to 16th, same as in Atlanta, is BC Game. BC Game is disappointment after disappointment. Now, okay, they actually had a good game against Falcons, but Simple didn't put on the same kind of performance we saw when he played Vitality. It was actually Electronic doing some of the heavy lifting in there. It was a 13-11 scoreline. It's something to work with. It's a best of one. But I mean, after that, like, BC Game against Pain probably should have performed better. Probably should have done more. It was a heavily watched game as well, right? You got a Brazilian audiences at the same time. We saw the Simple said it was no argument, no drama, but that moment where they were talking at each other and Senzu was laughing while Simple was not looking too happy about things. But getting 13-8 and 13-4 by Pain, But this is not a competitive team. This is a team where they keep saying they're serious, right? Scrunk obviously is not someone they're going to keep, but like maybe now with the Passion UA situation, you grab JT. Like if you've got money, JT is not going to be a player that is going to be off the market for long. Like many teams could benefit from him. Even Liquid might be looking at him. So if you're BC Game, maybe you throw the money at him.
Yeah, but at some point, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it can work. Maybe if JT kind of gets the reins and gets to do what he wants. The problem is obviously you're going to have some big players, big egos. Is JT up for that challenge? Maybe. I don't know. But right now, BC Game is, honestly, they're kind of a waste of a slot. I don't find it exciting that they're entering the tournament. I don't
the hype has died.
Exciting to really... I mean, obviously people want to watch their games and want to see, I mean, either them fail or succeed, whatever it may be.
I'm trying to watch Simple succeed. I'm trying to watch him succeed, but it's hard.
Yeah, I think it's better if they go into a hiatus and kind of come back strong when they have a complete lineup, rather than kind of what Passions did, you know, like end their season early, rethink this whole project, because right now you're kind of just killing your stock every event you go to.
Definitely. And then another hugely disappointing team. Oh my. Okay, losing to Bait if you're NIP in a best of one, zero shame in that. I'm going to say Bait is a better team. Obviously, MPL's back in good form as well. But then it's losing to Lynn Vision. That's the way they lost as well. So they win their own picks, right? They win their own picks, the maps they chose going into it. Then you get 10-2'd on your CT side on Ancient. And bro, I was watching this game. Lynn Vision could do whatever they wanted on Ancient. Like there was no one having any success. This whole, like, I'm going to keep coming back to this. NIP, Kaspersky signed for them. This was the worst decision of his career. Someone buy him out. Someone please save this guy. Like, I'm a big fan of Snappy. I've loved how honest he's always been in interviews, conversations I've had with him outside of the game. I believe in him as an in-game leader, but they remove Wrinkle. They bring Stown in. They're getting worse. Like, I don't know what this lineup is. There's no identity to this team. There is nothing to look at positively. And you can, if I don't know if anyone even said it, but if they want to say jet lag or still learning with Stown or whatever, like the Stown move was bad. You need him as a rifler. Like that's what he was known for, right? Mechanically gifted. Obviously he had his struggles in CS2. Then he went on his break. Now he's come back as an AWPer, to have these performances. Like, dude, this is Kaspersky. We were so hyped during Budapest. We were just like, this guy's amazing. This guy could go on to a top 10, maybe top 5 team in the world, no problem at all. And NIP are just, they're floundering right now. Kaspersky is one of the lowest rated players in the whole tournament. The whole tournament, Devil. That's like, I know I sound like the biggest Kaspersky fanboy in the world, but I mean, we all saw it. We all saw what he could do.
I mean, he has every single thing that you need to be a tier 1 player. Kaspersky has. He has so much X factor. He's constantly, their top rated player. This is the one-off where I've seen him perform badly. But it's as you say, like every time I see NIP, it's kind of like I'm getting constantly disappointed, because there's something in the project that makes me believe. You look at the players, you look at coaching staff and everything, but they seem to hit way below what they're capable every single time, because I don't even know what you would do with this lineup in terms of changing players or stuff like that. They have the material to be successful, or at least more successful. I could see them reaching, with the player material they have, something along the top 15, top 20, start to actually, impose themselves and get an upset or two in a tournament against some big teams.
Yeah.
But they're not really there. They are, I don't even know where I would rate them. I mean,
they're a top 30 team at best.
Yeah.
I don't know, where are they even rated right now? I didn't even look at their rankings. Top 34 Valve, top 35 HLTV. So yeah, there you go. Top 30 at best right now.
Yeah. And I mean, almost a year ago, we talked about them. We watched them in Star Ladder. They look good. They were one of the favorites. They've been consistent in tier 2 scene. But since
by the way, when you say Star Ladder, let's make sure everyone understands you're talking about a Star Series event, not the Star Ladder Major.
Yeah. Star Series 19. But in the tier 2 scene, they were the most consistent team. They were kind of like on par with Parivision to some degree, or even favorites in some of the tournaments that they both attended. And now it seems like NIP is just constantly regressing, constantly going backwards. And it's disappointing to see. It's just,
So the thing is, right, if we look at their like career changes for the players, so Ujerks goes out. Now, they benched Ujerks, and they were trying to get the upgrade. They brought Ken in, But on paper, this was like a great upgrade, but it's how the players are being used. Ken has not thrived the same way he did on his previous team. Ujerks was actually doing a lot better in how they were using him. Shush has been the standout player. Wrinkle was coming back to form. They didn't give that team enough time. Then Wrinkle went out, which didn't make any sense to us, right? And they bring Stowners and Orpa. So, like, you can see how they're digressing because the decisions also are not good. And I agree. Exist had Shush and he had Stown. He played them on Heroic, but like that's a long time ago now. We're playing CS2. We're not playing CSGO anymore. Like Shush was a great pickup. Shush was doing great in his role, but now things are so off balance. And this is a team where they have to make changes. This is a must. You must go for change again if you want to be a competitive team.
But the problem I see is I don't really know who to change. Is it Cairn again? Is it Stowen out? Like, what is the move here? Because it's also like, who are you going to attract?
Yeah, that's another thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think they're kind of low in the attractive department.
Snappy used to be great, right? When him and Saul were working together on Ents, of bringing up these players. A lot of Israeli players, a lot of players from not so much the biggest regions, and making them fit into his system, making it work, right? They need to go back to that. They need to bring up some of this young talent. Don't bring me another Stown. Like Ken was a good pickup on paper, but he's obviously not thriving the same way he did. Like they tried to make moves to go up, and all they've done is go down. So yeah, it's rough for them. After NIP, we move into the 9th to 12th teams. We've got M80. Now, M80 started off good, right? It's a best of one win against Pain. You'll take that. Then they play Falcons in here, and they had the crazy overtime game against Falcons on Inferno. Not being able to close that out will probably like be a pain for them, right? I'm still questioning what we get from like my biggest issue with M80 is not like it's a bad team, but it is a team that can just lose all the potential they had from adding Jaber. When they added Jaber, this was a positive sign, in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
He was a good player. He was a player that a lot of people were hyping up with the North American scene. It made sense to obviously have Hexed go, but now they've actually performed worse since that's happened. They haven't figured out how to work as this team, as these people. And like Hex came in, and he brought a good attitude, a good mood, funny guy, a hype guy in the games as well. Will always be delivering some trash talk. And people might think, oh, okay, you're just talking about the vibes again. But it was good vibes he brought, and they've actually gone further down since having this team.
But I will say, like, we can't be too harsh on M80. They're coming into this tournament. Like, what's the reasonable expectation for them going up against, They won their opening game against Pain. Yeah. Great. They played super close against the finalists and probably the favorites for the entire tournament. Overtime loss on Inferno, 13-11 on Ancient loss. That's great. I think even taking a map off of MOUZ, that's great.
Yep.
I think they have a really tough path in this Group A to even make a better, like, were there ever a chance for them to kind of make it out of this group if you look at the bracket? Not really. I think they made an okay tournament considering the cards that they were dealt.
Yeah. That's fair. Then, obviously, on the same foot, do we say this about Liquid? Because Liquid is a team we're constantly criticizing. We're very harsh on, right? They lose to Parivision. They beat 3D Max, game we already touched on. Then they lose to MongolZ. And by the way, I
think you can say the same, because I mean we need to lower our expectations for Liquid, just like in general.
Okay. So do you think the community's been too harsh right now, including me? Like I've been harsh on Liquid. Do you think we need to ignore the Liquid of old and the brand?
Okay, there's obviously like some ingredients, the fact that they are a big org, they can pay big salaries, they can go for big players, which they have for quite a while. That obviously adds pressure, but if you realistically look at how good they've been and what they've achieved, we can't just consistently for 1 year expect them to be a top 10 team when they perform like a top 40.
Yeah.
I think that's when you can be criticizing the project, but going in expectation-wise, I don't have the expectation they're going to beat MongolZ. I don't have the expectation they're even going to beat 3D Max. And I definitely don't have the expectation they're going to beat Parivision. So if you look at it from that lens, I think it's different. But project-based, I think you can criticize the project, you can criticize the way they've made moves, the way they cannot make this team function to even their own expectations, right? I think that can be criticized in another way, but just looking at, okay, where can Liquid realistically be placed in a tournament like this? I don't think they can be played. I don't expect them ever to reach playoff.
I will say this, though. I think they might have actually had a better chance because they played with Flashy for the opening best of one against Parivision. I think this Liquid would have beaten them without Flashy. I think they would have actually won that game. I think that would have been a fair shot for them. I don't know let me just look at this. Who would they have played if they did win that opening game against
So they would have played MIBR.
MIBR. And probably lost that anyway, right? Obviously, we'll come on to MIBR a little bit. But also, I don't want people to be baited by Liquid winning Mirage against MongolZ. MongolZ threw that game. MongolZ lead, by the way, was absolute dominance. And MongolZ just did what MongolZ do, even though Mirage is a classic map for them. Cobra Zero was heavy lifting the whole game. And for some reason, no one else came alive. No Mazzinho pop-off moment. No 9-10. Like, I don't know what was happening. It was like watching the team just hope playing the most basic level of Counter-Strike would have got them over the line. It's almost, I know we're joking about the non-practicing MongolZ, but I mean, guys, that should have been a clean 2-0 for them. Should have been a comfortable 2-0. The fact that
they won the second round on T side as well. 9-3 half into winning second round after Liquid won pistol. You have money control. You should be able to close the game out from there. But yeah. But I still like Liquid are nowhere near the levels of MongolZ on full power.
No, definitely not. Now we'll start to look at some of our Chinese teams. I would say it's not what the Chinese fans want, but it is Chinese success. You lose to MongolZ, Lynn Vision 13-3. You beat NIP, which we touched on earlier. The Parivision game. Honestly, I had a feeling going into that Lynn Vision were going to beat Parivision. But I mean, it's just the way Parivision play is not something that I ever expect a Chinese team to be able to handle. Like, even Parivision on their worst day are still going to outplay and outcool and just out-rotate. Like, I'm not even looking at individuals, because if it was just an individual matchup of some defaulting standard CS, then Lynn Vision would probably win in the current form of Parivision. But I mean, finally, Dastan got everyone delivering within this game for him. So for Lynn Vision, it's good. Most people expected the Chinese teams to be the last place teams, and not win any games.
Yeah. And it's the fact that they're competitive. I think, last time I saw Lynn Vision, they were really, really bad. They were not out in form. They were disappointed in themselves, in the performance, and they looked like they had nothing to do in the tournament. This time around, obviously, they are competitive. They are doing things. So, I don't know. Is it a win or is it... Probably it's a win. But... yeah, it's tough in these tournaments when it's like a six team playoff bracket. there's so few spots that if there were an 8-team bracket, they probably could have snatched, like either Tyloo or Lynn could have snatched maybe a 8th spot. But realistically, they shouldn't really go to playoff here.
Similar kind of understanding for Tyloo. Now, Tyloo, they start off with a win against MOUZ.
You love Tyloo.
I did predict Tyloo to win the first game.
Yeah.
I'll say this though. I expected MOUZ to be hella jet lagged. I also remember from Na'Vi days, I don't know, I actually can't confirm this would be about the rest of MOUZ, but I know Na'Vi, and JL was a Na'Vi player, always were a team that struggled with jet lag. Like they were not good at adjusting over to Asia. Did JL even have a bad game that one?
Yeah,
well, not particularly. No one had a great game, but it's just, it's okay. But looking at this starting point for the MOUZ side, and then look, the legacy game. I know you wouldn't have seen it. Oh my god, bro! Like this was classic Tyloo. This is classic Tyloo. So I wouldn't say throwing. I'd say being able to claw your way back into game, right? So obviously you were down 7-5 on overpass to start off with. You then do the same. You come back on your CT side. That can be expected. But in overtime, especially when you're playing a team like Legacy, I don't think Tyloo have enough ideas, enough in the tank, enough individual performance to be able to fight it off. Because one thing Legacy has, they don't give a damn. They will keep running at you. They're not going to start playing too differently. They're not going to play scared against you. Like when you look at that game, it was great and even on clutches, but obviously entry gods, we've been speaking about this for Legacy forever. They've always been doing that, right? But I feel like Tyloo on both maps took the fight to them, was willing to get down and dirty with CS. My biggest problem with Tyloo is still, and I love G, like, he just folds in some games. G is either really incredible, which is not too much, yeah, or he's just folding and he's just struggling. But then also I'm going to look at, like, we'll either get a Jamyoung performance or a MOUZ performance, but we're never getting, like, two of the stars playing well at the same time. You're not getting a G and Mercury performance. You're not getting a G and Jamyoung performance. You're not getting a G and MOUZ performance. I don't expect as much from Zero. Zero had some great, I think it was, I'm trying to remember who they played on Nuke. I think this was a Pain game. Pain on Nuke, right? Zero was having a great game. He didn't even end that high. He was in the middle, but his nuke was solid. His nuke was really solid. Like, he had impact. He was playing individually well. One time with a 5-7 round, I remember. Like, I would say that this is positive for Tyloo going into the major. And if I am them right now, and I need to message Jack, actually. I should have done this. Where's my phone? I'm going to do this mid-game and I'll come back to it.
Mid-game.
Let's get mid-game, mid-podcast. Wait. Let's go. Jack. This is the skills we do, by the way. We do this live on broadcast, guys. Jack, when are you guys going to Europe or Cologne? Will you boot camp before?
How much?
Because if they boot camp, there is potential. I keep saying this to Tyloo. Go to Europe, spend a month in Europe or something like that. If they go straight from CAC,
but they were testing some new stuff, right? Last time we spoke to Jack was at the major, and they were kind of testing European-based working conditions, where you kind of,
but in China,
where you have your own place, you live there, you go to work and boot camp like that, and not spend like 24 hours every day with each other. So
the problem is, I love the idea and the ideology behind it, right? Because they're trying to build that boot camp environment, that playing together, giving some freedom to have, time with family, friends, and have the freedom outside of it, not being locked in the whole time.
Yeah.
But you're still doing this within China. Now, I definitely couldn't go to China and become a pro player, but Devilwalk, if you wanted to go back and play pro, go learn Chinese, and you could be on a top 3, top 4 Chinese team. I'm 100%.
Yeah.
I'm that confident that you could still do it. I know it sounds like I'm just bigging you up here, but I mean, the gap right now,
maybe.
Bro, I've got some friends who are not pro. Yeah, as a caller, you would be IGL. I'm not looking you to be star player. But I've got some friends who are, what would I call them? Not even ex-pros. They're like good enough players within Counter-Strike, good understanding, analysts, watchers, enjoyers, co-streamers, and they are Chinese, and they're playing in the highest levels of like the 5e Play League and the Perfect World app, like to the high levels of what is their equivalent of Face It, you know?
Yeah.
And to me, that's not a good sign, because it's not like, for example, you or a pimp, you know, who were actually ex-pro and you're still at the top of like Face It stats, you know? You're still doing well. You're still hanging in there with your elo. No, these are just guys who are very casually doing it. They've still got stream teams that have some success as well. So I'm just going to keep saying it. They need to have the MongolZ approach. If we want to see them do well again, we need to see them have the MongolZ approach.
What is that, like a chef?
No, not the chef mode, but you know, go to Europe, boot camp for ages, basically live in Europe.
Food, every event.
Go between. Could you imagine? Poor Chinese guys would be like, oh, okay, we're changing up the food to Mongolian food right now. Maybe it'll give us the power.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we can rock with. But no, I want to see Tyloo do well. I want to see a Chinese team be successful. I think regional Counter-Strike has to keep growing.
They are always scary though. Like even in this tournament, they are scary to face. They're not an easy team that you're just gonna walk over. I mean, you see them. They played. Obviously, Tyloo, they played Legacy, they played MOUZ.
If they beat Legacy, they would have been in playoffs.
Kane. That's also like a tricky 3 opponents to have in a group stage. Legacy obviously won the event, but Tyloo were this close to beating them.
Yep.
And I think, you know, maybe the Pain one is a bit rougher for them as a loss, but it's still tough opponents to play.
I agree with you that it's rough. But it's also, after you push Legacy like you did, and people are just going to look at this and go, oh, well, Legacy 1-2-0. Just go back and watch that game.
Yeah.
Like, Tyloo never gave up in it. They just crumble when it gets to the overtimes, when they're running out of ideas, or then maybe they mentally give up on things.
But I mean, it's definitely, you know, a road back. You know, if we look back even like in March, they were ranked 108 in VRS. And now they're back up to 34th. You know, they had a complete reset essentially for their entire team and kind of grinded their way back up. So in that sense,
especially after winning Fissure, like you win Fissure and then you drop down this much and you have this much of a bad time, it's crazy. It's so crazy.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
All right, you can see more positives in it. Now we're into our top 8. Top 8, obviously there was only it was 6 teams playoffs, so top 8 didn't make it through the playoffs in this one. We're not a fan of that format, but this was a very tight event. Like, bro, do you know what was crazy? They were playing games on the same, so there were still group stage games going on when there was quarterfinal games. Wait a second, maybe I'm just completely lying.
That doesn't make sense.
Wait. So maybe it's because of time zone.
No,
so
that doesn't make sense.
The Legacy MongolZ was a quarterfinal game. Yeah, it happened at 10:10 on the 22nd, and then Fate was also a quarterfinal game, and then the MongolZ was on the same day, and winner advances to quarterfinal, losing team is eliminated. So MongolZ played a group stage game into a quarters game. I was right. That's a wild format, bro. That's just insane.
That is crazy. Why was that? Was that like the scheduling of the event in general that people already knew this?
Yeah, no, they already knew it was basically, as far as I'm aware, every team knew how scuffed the schedule was going to be. Obviously, having the CAC was a good event for VRS, you know? Yeah. It's got $1 million prize pool. It's a crowd, LAN, all these extra games in there. But it's a condensed one because you've got a lot of teams that are going to stage 1. Also, they couldn't do it during Atlanta or Astana. Yeah. So if you go deep in those games, like Falcons who were in the final, they had to go straight over, right? So they had to crunch it if they wanted any good teams. Otherwise, it would have ended up like CAC last year with like only teams that didn't go to one of the events, you know? So this was their only way to make it work. Obviously, there's a lot of teams that will want to go to China because obviously it's good business as well, you know, in terms of, you know, the obvious things within Counter-Strike. So that's kind of the way it needed to roll out. But let's look at our top 8 teams in here. So Pain, considering they started off with the loss to M80, beating BC Game, beating Tyloo, it's nothing to scream and shout about. I'll say that I'm still kind of down on Pain. And Big Azera gave an interview to HLTV. I think it was with Mira. Shout out Lewis one time. Basically, they're still not sure if NQZ is coming back for the major or if Safe's going to be the one playing. Let me check his Safe stats. So Safe was still the lowest rated player for the team as the AWPer. I think they would be very thankful to have NQZ back. I'm not going to just say that's like Safe is bad. Safe is definitely good, but he's an older player in that.
Yeah.
And we know how strong NQZ can be. But still, it's any given game, any given day that someone on Pain pops off. Like, we've given Snow great positions. VSM's been good in his role. Piria Jr. at times can take over a map. Big Azera himself has always been capable of like being a frag in IGL every now and again. But like, I think this run is okay for Pain. Getting dominated by MOUZ in the end as well to not make it through to the quarterfinals is a tough one. Actually, Zelix dominated him in that game.
It's cool to see VSM being the top-rated player for Pain this event.
It's good for his roles and what he's doing for the team. It's not a good sign for Pain.
No.
It's not a good sign for Pain ahead of it all. Yeah, as a personal identity for him, sure. So for me, I still think that Pain right now is in limbo, especially with the situation with NQZ. I hope they find out like yesterday if he was going to be playing, so then they can get the extra practice they need in with him. And also, where is Pain in stage 2? So they got a bit more time? Yeah, stage 2. They're at stage 2 of Cologne Major, so that's better for them as well.
All right. But yeah, I didn't really expect that much from Pain either in this tournament, to be honest. I had more lookouts for other teams. I think the next team we'll talk about is probably the one that I'm more disappointed in, which is Parivision.
But okay, we say more disappointed. They finished top 8, yeah. They beat Liquid, they lost to MIBR, they beat Lynn Vision, then they lost to MongolZ. Now, my thing is here with it is my expectations are so low from when we've done these interviews with Dastan, when we're hearing what they're thinking, when we know they're probably going to make changes after the major, no matter what happens. They're in stage 3 of the major, but they're just tanking points. You said they are where they're supposed to be now, right? Around top 15. They're 13th in the world right now. But
yeah, 10, like around top 10.
Yeah, but for me, when they're coming into this event, I didn't even have them making playoffs. Like, I did not think this was going to be a team we see in playoffs.
I think in this type of tournament, they should be making playoffs.
Should be, but I didn't have them given what we've seen from them.
That's fair. That's fair. But when on their day, I think they are definitely a playoffs team. I would consider them still stronger than Bait, who made playoff, as an example.
Yeah.
But I see your point. I see your point. Just form-wise and everything, I get it. But it's still a massive disappointment for me. I love watching Parivision. I think they're great. I think, they have that special style that's just so... Maybe it's not the most exciting to watch, but it's different, so it becomes exciting in that sense. And yeah, I just expect them to do better because they have it in them. They know they have it in them, and they're just in this rut where, you go up to such a high that now every game is an expectation to win. So every loss is a disaster.
But I'll say this, right? They had a month between Bucharest and Astana, yeah? And we saw they did worse even at Astana. So that's when I already know, like, if things were not being possible to fix, if we're talking about individual mistakes players make and just the read of the game and things they need to think about themselves, that Dastan spoke about, that James has spoken about.
So who do you think is, like, on the chopping block for this Parivision, if we go that route?
Basically, everyone except Zwei and James. Is not like
they think they're like
no they won't chop that.
Reshuffling.
They need to keep 3 players, right? But I'm just saying that Dastan has specifically said that Nota, Belchanok, and Zello are not safe.
I'm pretty sure Belchanok is the one that's going to be kicked first.
But loads of people think it's Nota because Dastan's always like shouting at Nota after games and complaining at him.
But that doesn't necessarily mean,
that
it might be that he has higher expectation for him because he thinks he's a better player, and therefore he's talking more to that specific guy about the mistakes. That's something that coaches can get in. Like, this is the player I like. That's why I'm like more home.
Yeah, I expect better of him. I need to actually make sure he's doing it. Like don't sit at this level. Like you can be up here.
It is, but I'm just saying that could be a reason. I'm just saying, Belchenok for me was super exciting, but he's dropped massively, massively in the games that I've watched.
The good thing is, right, they now have until the 11th of June when they come back from China to be ready for the major. They're going to watch all the other games go down. I feel like playoffs is probably not an expectation for them, but winning some games, getting some extra VRS points, not going 0-3 or 1-3, fighting to be close to playoffs at the major is what Parivision now needs to be aiming at. And then they go and look at, because remember, by the way, for people who don't understand, teams are already talking to players and organizations about who is available for going into the next season. Like these decisions don't just happen like, we got eliminated the major, now I decide, They're already feeling out saying, who could I get? And like, Dastan literally is asking on his Telegram, you got people you could recommend to me? I will take a look at them,
Yeah.
Because they want to perform well.
No, I get it. I get it.
It's tough. It's tough for Parivision. It's a big drop down. But we can move on to some positives in here because Bait was certainly positive. Bait obviously had top 8 at Atlanta, losing to Vitality in the end, not making it to playoffs. Making it to playoffs here, they beat NIP, they beat the MongolZ. They lose to MIBR, but that puts them obviously in the quarters, not the semis. I will say this, the MIBR game, you lost 13-1. The old Bait would mentally break. The old Bait would not have any fight back into that game. Like, it would be impossible. Absolutely impossible. But they did fight all the way in. They did have good chances in there. I think MPL, who we've obviously been talking about, I don't know what he ended as the whole tournament rating. Let me have a look. Bait in here. MPL was still the highest rated player. Kenzazor dropped off a bit as well. But MPL in that qualification game didn't deliver. And Sizzy, I've been talking about him positively. I've been saying how he's mechanically gifted. I don't know how much, like, they got to give him more time. But my, oh my.
But Major ain't gonna be easier. I'm just saying.
No,
I cannot see. Okay, there's one thing with the Major that's easy. You kind of get a warm up in if you're. I don't know which stage, but Bait should have probably been in stage 3, right?
Oh, they're in stage 2.
They're in stage 2 straight. Okay, that's bad for Sissy. I think that's terrible.
Oh no, they're in stage 1. They're in stage 1. Stage 1.
Okay. So I think that's a positive. You do get a warm-up. I don't know what the setup exactly is going to be in Cologne.
Oh, remember, they only just about qualified. Only just by the skin of their teeth. Yeah.
I think that can be good because it's a long tournament. It's a long event. You're playing a bunch of games and you have more than enough time to prep for each game, to practice in between. All of that stuff, you kind of almost get a home-sensy feeling when you're at a major because they're so long. It's not like, CAC, it's in and out. You have to get used to everything and start playing instantly. You're jet-lagged, all of that. Here you get to set the routine at the major where you have breakfast, you have this, you can work out, whatever you want to do. So I think in that sense it's easier. If you start on stage 1, we've seen it multiple times in majors where people start ramping up and getting all their kind of routines in the major. They generally do better in the next stages and continuously throughout the tournament. FaZe is even a great example of that. Probably one of the worst teams I've ever seen in stage 1, and they made it to the finals of the last major. And they grew every single game they played during the major and got more comfortable and got more things into it. So that could be a real good positive for them. But if they started in stage 2, I'll be really worried.
A bit worried. Yeah. I'll say the Bait performance is good. They definitely showing that they can grind out some games. That overtime against MOUZ on Ancient was ridiculous. You were 9-3 down, you battle back, you go to overtime, and they have multiple chances in it, right? They were never giving up. So I think mentally, they have improved. We spoke to them the end of last year, right? And they actually did have a mental coach, which was a new thing for them.
Yep.
Obviously, Sizzy's come in. We just spoke about like what is expected of him. MPL was hyping him up to me like no one's business. He was just saying how good he can be mechanically, one of those new generation players. We're still yet to see it, and it's going to be his first major. But I think like making it to the quarters, losing to MOUZ, there is no shame in that at all. And they can only take positives away from this going into stage 2.
Yeah, it's like we said last episode. They kind of stopped the bleeding, and now they're starting to progress, and it's good to see.
MongolZ is the next team we're going to be looking at here. And for MongolZ run, I don't know. Expectations before this tournament was like MongolZ could and should make a grand final. I think that's fair, right? For the standard we hold MongolZ to.
I think that's right. I mean, they also, they're not in the bracket, same side as Falcons, that kind of thing. I think that plays a huge role in why we expect them to be in the grand finals. I think, you never really know what legacy you're going to get. And unfortunately, they got the high tier legacy this tournament around. So,
but still, even looking at their run, they did lose to, so they beat Vision, lost to Bait, beat Liquid and Parivision. The legacy game was obviously in the quarterfinals. And I feel like this is a clash of teams where it's on the smallest of details and margins,
Yeah.
Lato is a playoffs player. We know this by now, right? We keep talking about Demau. We keep talking about Sardzin when he was able to actually hit up and get some of those crazy clutch AWP shots. But the way it ended on Nuke, I don't know if we've even got the clip here on HLTV. Where they sometimes do like the videos. But the 1v3 he hit at the end was absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts. Was it him or was it... Maybe it was Lato. I can't remember the player.
Against MongolZ, yeah.
Against MongolZ, yeah. It was a 1v3 to end it all. It was absolutely impressive. But just look how close the games are. 13-11. Legacy were down 9-3 and then win it back 10-2 on Inferno. Then it's 13-10 on Mirage to MongolZ and then 13-10 on Nuke. Like, this is such a coin flip game. Such a clash of styles. Such a clash of individuals in there as well. I feel like this was just about the better team performance at the end of the day on some of those smaller details, on the clutches, on the most important rounds of like buying up and forcing into rounds.
Yeah.
Let's
but
see, because we always talk about the clutches.
MongolZ is a little bit give and take. I mean, even in this tournament, I probably expect them to beat a Bait. Obviously, I don't expect them to drop a map against Liquid. I don't really know what to judge on. It's an okay tournament, but it's definitely not good. It's not like they should be happy about the 5th to 6th place. I think they can push further. They should be in the finals, probably against Falcons in this time around. But how do you see it? How do you see the performance of MongolZ in this tournament?
I think that just having a playoff run after disappointing Astana is still not good enough. They had their practice during Astana, as we like to say for these guys, right, and how they're coming into it. They are in a stage 3 spot of the major, but I think they should be, with their caliber of players, looking at a grand final. Like, there's no other way to look at it. We saw some highlight moments from Mazinho. Cobra Zero had some games. I mentioned it earlier. I think it was the Liquid game where he like solo carried and they still lost the map. It should have been a 2-0 if someone else backed him up. Like, we know their game style is very all-in and risky at times. But then when you're matching up against Legacy and that's when you get the clash of styles. That should be a game where your experience, your knowledge should be better than it. And I'm gonna start to say this. I'm starting to question Blitz's motivation, Blitz's desire, and where this team is gonna go. Because we went from talking about them being a top 2, top 3 team in the world. That is far away now. You said it after we saw Budapest Major, right? You said they'll probably be a top 10 team.
Yeah, I don't expect them to make a resurgence onto that spot. I think it's hard once you get in a position like this because you probably think that the answer is the same path that you already paved. And it can be incredibly risky to change course in that, but you probably need to because you don't have the same players. You don't have the same material in the server. Yes, it's very similar. So it's easy to stay on the same road, building what you built with Sensu, with the new edition coming in. But I think over a longer period of time, you're just kind of hitting a wall, and you're continuously going to hit that wall until you change and tweak much more than you probably thought was initially needed.
But I want to see the Mongols with fire to make those deep runs, right? The team that won EWC, the team that was in grand finals of a major. I want to see them back to that. And now I'm struggling to see that they even have the motivation for it. And if we keep hearing how many good players there are in Mongolia, like, they can make changes. Maybe an IGL change is probably the hardest to make, but if Mara's system is so good and we've praised him for being able to fit in controllers, to fit in Cobra, make these changes, maybe this is something that needs to be looked at. Maybe you move Techno to IGL, Blitz out, and bring someone else in. I know that's crazy because obviously people are going to hate this because obviously the Mongols are such a highly praised team. But I'm just worried when we hear these things in interviews, like from multiple players, about no practice, not coming into it. I just hope, right, Mongols at the major is at least making semis, and they had a big boot camp and they grinded like crazy to be at their best. Then I can forgive them for these kind of results.
Well, I don't think you're gonna forgive them. I'm gonna put it.
So you don't think they're making semis, right? You don't think they're gonna make semis?
No. There's
it's
no.
Fair.
I find it hard to criticize Mongols though, because they come from a weaker region. They have kind of overachieved in some sense to even be in the position they're in. Even now, they're still, with a bad Mongols, so to say, they're still in the top echelons of Asian Counter-Strike of all time. It's really hard to go at them considering all the struggles that they face compared to other teams. So I have a little bit more leniency towards criticizing the Mongols, just because of all of these reasons. But I still expect them more, and I want them to do better, but I don't think they will.
This is the problem. So yeah, I think CAC will be a disappointing end. You may have lost to the overall champions of it, but Mongols have played at a much higher level than this before. They definitely have the caliber to be able to do it. To be able to do it. And for me, it does. Like, I expect more from them. I do. That's just it. 100% now. From Mongols, we get to look at MIBR now. Bro, I was ready to write MIBR off. I kept saying free insani. I kept saying this guy needed to have a better team or better people around him. Actually, I'll read you out my tweet I made when I was watching. So when they made it to semis, I said, I've been hyped on insani since Katowice 2023 because people told me how good he was, right? And I actually saw it. But he never had the best team around him, wasn't used correctly. Really hope his talent isn't wasted and it can work out for him. The Brazilian star has set a new record for the highest rating in a map at an MVP event. 3.28. 3.28, Devilwalk. That's insanity. Insani.
I mean,
insanity,
he is, he's always been one of the biggest talents in Brazil, and we've talked about him for years that he's kind of wasted his, peak in this MIBR lineup. We saw some, at the last major we saw him, it was a terrible MIBR kind of structure, didn't really work out, but they've kind of snuck under the radar and really practiced they've done well regionally, they've consistently found results with the Swedish LNC as the in-game leader in this kind of weird looking MIBR where it's hard to have expectations because you struggle to kind of figure out how is this all gonna fit and work out, but they're actually playing really good Counter-Strike, and they are Brazilian Counter-Strike, even though we had the sad news of Furia and Fallen's kind of retirement very recently, seems to have been a complete resurgence in these Brazilian teams. Like Legacy, we got MIBR, Pain, if they can get NQC back, can still be dangerous. There's so many teams from that region that we could see at a major and do really well, and see in these tournaments. They seem to be slowly creeping up, more and more. And what can you say? It's a brilliant tournament for them. 4th place, CAC.
100%. I didn't see, so I saw all their games except for the MOUZ one, because that was this morning, and that was 4 a.m. again. So I wasn't watching their 3rd place decider for this one.
We're not motivated for that one, it looks like.
Well, this is what's interesting, right? You beat 3D Max, you beat Parivision, you beat Bait. People might look at those names and think, okay, they made it to playoffs from that. They can only beat who's in front of them, and they went all the way to semifinals. Then they lost to Legacy, but they were competitive on the Mirage. It could have been a 3-map affair. Insani was still individually dominating, like Insani was just doing God's work on that. And then it just hits you hard that Insani was the best rated player, but no one showed up for MIBR. Like against MOUZ, they got 13-3'd and 13-1. Now, MOUZ may be the specialist of 3rd place deciders at this point, right? Back-to-back 3rd place deciders for this new MOUZ team coming into it. But like,
just the same
Insani
MOUZ.
ends. Yeah, just the same MOUZ. But Insani ends as the highest rated player of the whole tournament with a 1.40 rating. This is an MVP level event. This is a big event, right? With some good names in it. Like, this is something to respect. And they're starting at stage 1 of the major. My expectations have changed so much for MIBR. And I was questioning Klim after the comments he made and how he's been, you know, like we had the drama when he joined the Brazilian team. Obviously, individually, he's looking better. But I will credit that LNZ, and I forget, who is the coach of MIBR now? I always forget this. The coach is Letney. You know Letney. Yeah, you know Letney. So, like, something is working with how these players are now being used with LNZ as the coach, as the in-game leader, and Letney as the coach. Like, something has changed to get this performance out of Insani. For sure. Yeah, but I would have liked to have seen more from him against MOUZ, you know, like a real solid, strong team.
They've done recently well. I mean, even in PGL Bucharest, they came 5th to 8th. So they're kind of slowly creeping up to be, you know, one of these teams that can grab a playoff spot, can be, you know, fighting probably along the lines of the top 15 teams. They can be around there. So it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of develop as well, because
definitely
this lineup is finally starting to see some hope, starting to click, and something is working. And yeah, I'm just excited to see how far they can actually take it now, because now they have the platform to receive invites and be visible a lot more often than they were in the earlier stages of the season.
Definitely so. Now looking at MOUZ, who end up in 3rd place. 3rd place in Astana, where there was obviously much tougher competition.
I will just mention this shortly. MIBR gained 196 points of VRS from this event and 15 placements in the VRS rankings. So they are the biggest winners of VRS points in the entire tournament.
Wow. And if they can have a good major,
it's a
sky's the limit for next season. We could be seeing a lot of MIBR.
Yes.
A lot. They probably just need to go like a deep run, maybe stage 3, but a deep run in stage 2 after going through stage 1.
I'm pretty sure we'll see them in pretty much all the early events of next season.
Oh, that's really good for them. Great decision to go CAC. That's what I mean. This is what's happening with some of these other events. Thank you very much for that, Devilwalk. So we're going to MOUZ now. So MOUZ started off really badly, right, with that loss against Tyloo in a best of 1. They beat NRG 2-1. They beat M80 2-1. But then they beat Pain 2-0. They manhandled Bait. Then they lose to Falcons in the semi-final matchup. They had a chance, you know. They beat them on Mirage. It was actually a crazy good. So this is NiKo before grand finals, doing really well. Zelex has started to perform better. Let me look down the ratings again for MOUZ. I should always bring this up earlier than me saying it midway. So do you know what's crazy about MOUZ? Every player ended up green and positive. Obviously, that last game will help them, you know, dominating like you did, 13-3, 13-1. But like Zershan's still keeping that up. Zelex is looking better, 1.18 rating. Spinks and Torzi, 1.07, JL 1.06. Key thing here is, okay, you didn't go to the grand final. You had to face the Falcons, right? But you then do the job to take down MIBR. And this was the last event for JL, because in the major using Brolan, JL now is back on the bench of Na'Vi. But I know JL wants to join this team.
Yeah.
And you know, people will look at this and think, well, JL didn't have a strong enough performance to join them. If none of us will be able to tell you yes or no if he's joining, but I think he wants it, and he is a good player if he gets out of his rusty mode for this team in what he can bring. And because what they were looking is outside the server stuff, you know? And he's still got to learn so many new positions and roles. Like he didn't just slot into everything he enjoyed and how he wanted to play.
No, but if you look at MOUZ and the trajectory of what they've done within this like 1 month period of having stand-ins come in, they've done brilliant. Like they've been really, really good. They've kept the form of what, you know, the old lineup who grinded for like 2-3 years together. Maybe it was even 4 years almost. But around 3 years with the old lineup. Consistently getting top 4 spots. Now they're at that stage 1 month into a project. They've brought in JL and Xelix and done super well, and even been to some degree even maybe more competitive in the semifinals. More, you know, sharpness to them. So I'm pretty sure they are heavily considering signing him and keeping this project going.
And also, Xelix is another win from the Academy project. Definitely. I think, like, let me look down this. I'm just going to count the MOUZ wins they had. So they lost in 2 tournaments to 9Z, Spirit, Tyloo, and Falcons. Tyloo's the anomaly.
I know they got over 10 wins.
It is the best of 1. Yeah, so, like, look at that run. Deep runs in tournaments with a new IGL, 2 new players to the team, like, big changes for it. People will say it's the same old MOUZ. They're in the same position, you know, they're not winning trophies, whatever. But this is good. This is something to be proud of. And like Xelix said, well, that was a great game from us. We finished 3rd place here in CAC. Thanks everyone for support. You guys are really amazing here in Shanghai. Like, I like this Xelix kid, man. I like this a lot.
I will mention
ways they can adapt
why I'm looking to the left sometimes. Spurs is currently in a relegation battle in the Premier League, and I'm a Spurs fan. So I have the game on to the left of me, and I cannot miss it. So instantly...
What happens if you lose?
Well, hopefully we're done with the podcast before that happens, so that I can cry off camera. But yeah, so I'm a little bit nervous, a little bit spread on the focus, but that's why I'm looking to the left, because when I see the ball going over the halfway line, I'm looking a little bit left to see if there's some danger.
Well, do you know what ball is not going over the halfway line and not going into a grand final to lift a trophy? It's Falcons. The problems continue.
Didn't they set a record, by the way, of like continuous grand final losses of our team ever?
Probably. I don't know. Like, so I'm just going to give you the numbers I'm looking at right now. Yeah. So CSE's 1, Astana 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 1, 2, 6, 7. Haha. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So 6, 7. Actually 7 now for NiKo. And that is 8 for MONOZ in terms of lost finals.
Yeah.
8 for MONOZ in a row, 7 for NiKo. And for Karrigan, obviously he's been in less grand finals, but his grand final losses start all the way back after Chengdu. So it'll be Perfect World Major 1, and then Budapest Major 2, Astana 3, and 4 now as well. Now, I'm the biggest Karrigan fan. He made me like the Falcons. Kyosuke looking so much better and happier. I'm enjoying that for sure. Yeah. But I will say this. This was your final. The first map was so entertaining. The first map was amazing, Devilwalk. There was non-stop action. There was 4 spies. There was pistol wins. There was just having a couple of rifles going in for it. Like, this final, on paper, had it all. You know, and it was going to deliver because this is 2 teams that love chaos. And what do we always say? Karrigan thrives in chaos. Now, it was a 6-6 first half. Then T-side, which is what you want Karrigan for, is where it starts to work. Kyosuke playing so much better. I'll just say this. After they won Nuke, I was like, job's done. All right, Falcons have got this. 0 problems at all, you know? Yeah. Like, if they can win that, which is Legacy's pick and a tough first map to go through, this is it. They can do it again, right? And remember, they lost to Spirit in a grand final, but this is Legacy. And no disrespect to Legacy. Legacy is great, right? But look at the name value in every role. You're putting the Falcons, maybe except Tessus's role, every player is better on Falcons. More experience, more knowledge, more individual raw skill. And I will say this, right? They did in Budapest have a psychologist, a performance coach. I didn't see that performance coach with them in Astana. Maybe they don't want to do that when they got Karrigan there for whatever reason. But there has to be something mentally breaking here. Like, I'm the vibes guy, but this is too much. You can't fix Kyosuke, still get a good performance out of MOUZ, and then NiKo is just doing what the Chinese like to say, it's shrimp, right? But it is choking or whatever.
So there's also the question, you can talk about NiKo in the grand final, you can talk about that sort of stuff, but we have a high firepower output from Kyosuke. MOUZ is always stable, always delivering. But the fact that, we have a Karrigan, I know that he hasn't really focused on his individual,
he's been clear.
Ability, and that's been kind of a focus point in interviews, etc. That it's not really where he's put his focus. But how much of a deficit is it to have an IGL, going 29-59? It's a 0-59 rated player in a grand finals over 4 maps. It must hurt them, even though you get the upswing from other players. There's a significant downswing in terms of individual performance from Karrigan to Kixon at this point, right?
100%. And that is a problem. And I'll say this, right? I'll give an example. Is Kixan would have won some of those duels, some of them fights that Karrigan flopped on, 100%. But you would not be getting this performance out of Kyosuke. I will say, MOUZ will dodge a bullet because of NiKo and not get criticized. But MOUZ was not on his usual antics. He was not in God mode. He was not swinging and hitting all those amazing shots. Yeah, he wasn't pulling them through difficult rounds like he does. So there is a bit of this... MOUZ avoids a lot of the flack because he is the yellow flash and he does all these amazing moves, but he is also not delivering to his same level. But my biggest thing of what you're saying here, right, if you're trying to push it on to Karrigan, is Karrigan right now, he got outplayed by Art in the bullshit approach. There was some rounds, there's some flashes going over the top outside. Art is pushing, past red. So he's gone from around where main is towards red, pushes out, and just dies to 2 Falcons players as he tries to run back into the smoke and hide. Random push. They're in a 4v5. And Legacy still win the round because he's got that information. He's run off it. Karrigan is supposed to be at times a sacrificial lamb, right? And run out there. But a lot of the times I'm seeing him not last alive, but one of the final few alive, or still... It's a different way of what I expected from Karrigan. I expected to see some more of the running around corners, jumping out, and just not the 0.59 rating, 29-59 is not good. Yeah. And look at the round swing, -6 round swing. It's not positive at all. But NiKo, because of who he is and the positions he plays and the performance he has, and he should be doing better than what we saw from him. Now, obviously, he's always going to be hurting because he's calling the CT sides. Remember, he is full calling the CT sides. So that will get him. But let's look at this. CT side rating, he's at his worst. T side rating, he's a little bit better, 1.04. So maybe that is part of the problem. Yeah? Maybe it's too much of that micromanaging the pieces and the plays and taking in all that information. But
he's
I will say this.
He's always done that. There's no change in that compared to what he's done before and delivered high numbers. You know what I mean? But
also, isn't this is definitely more of a you thing than a me, but he's going back to some of the old way of NiKo playing. Like you mentioned it, right? That there's some of the rounds where he's playing solo outside rather than Kyosuke doing it, which was normally seen T-side nuke, for example.
I think that thing is great where I see,
But it's going to take him some time to adjust again.
Yeah, there's going to be some adjustment period. I mean, probably for all players, they're going to shift and switch until, Karrigan finds the way that he wants every player. Because there's some rounds, maybe he wants NiKo in the lower area on nuke to fake and draw attention, where he knows that NiKo understands that it's not about him getting a duel and, winning it, he needs to go down lower, he needs to molly the stairs and force CTs off location, so they think there's a bigger threat than it actually is, etc., etc. And kind of like, there's one thing, like some players can be a bit too scared when they fake or a bit too overeager. I think NiKo has a great balance in that. He understands what's needed to make the opponent think there's a bigger threat there. So that I like from them. Obviously, I think it's more of a grand final issue for him right now. It's like something that hasn't been unlocked for many years, because it's not like he's a problem in playoffs. It's not like...
No.
His
semi-final was great.
Yeah.
His semi-final, he was the highest rated player for the semi-finals of Falcons.
Yeah.
And this is what I mean. We can talk about roles, we can talk about positions, we can talk about Karrigan. I'm not blaming NiKo here, right? Because a lot of people want to just point the finger and laugh at NiKo. Oh, it's Choco, blah, blah, blah. This is a grand final problem. This is an in-your-mind problem. This has happened. Go back all the years of like 2021 Stockholm, I watched him whiff some shots on Ancient. He had a player on Legacy dead to rights. It was a 3v3. He just whiffed the first few shots. Sometimes it happens, He just whiffs the shots, can't connect the kill. Now, everyone can whiff, but we hold NiKo to such higher expectations than other players, sometimes unfairly as well, right? Which is going to obviously get him picked apart by the community. But as I said, MongoZ also didn't have a great semis, didn't have a particularly great grand final to be game-changing. Like, when you see MongoZ with the AWP in hand and what he can do, you want to see that round swing stat really high. You want to see some of the flashy plays, the multi-kills coming into it. There's still a lot of learning for Falcons, but this event was a layup to be like, okay, we've got this. Like, we are going to be taking this trophy.
Okay, the thing for Falcons, I know everyone's just popping Karrigan and everyone expect them to do super well. I have a more reserved approach to that. I honestly didn't believe that they would be even this good. I thought they would be way worse than what we've seen so far. So I actually see it as a positive that they can, even in a scrambling kind of way, put themselves in a position where they can win trophies. Because I think that Karrigan, to kind of mesh up his system, and I've mentioned this before, when he was back in MOUZ Sports, when he was back in FaZe, what they did early on in a preseason, they played the first couple of tournaments in different positions, they played practice in role swapping, where, maybe Rain would be an anchor on Ancient on A instead of playing Cave, etc., so that different people get a perspective of what's happening on the map in the meta, and then they see based on the performance what fits well, what communication is missing on certain positions. They swap it around until they get the perfect fit. I don't think he has the time to really do that right now, because they're so deep into the tournament rounds. So you're never going to get Karrigan's full system until after the major. That's when they're going to start to play around and fit the pieces where he wants them. So now it's just scrambling, playing old rounds that Karrigan probably doesn't even, been a part of making. It's just old, renewed, or recycled stuff from Kickson's days. So I get this going to be messy for him. And
do you also think that, like, Karrigan himself was probably thinking, we don't care if we win CAC or Astana, we need to do some testing here? Do you think that's a mentality he came in with? Because they've made it very clear that it's all about the major.
Yeah,
that's what they've tried to say.
Yeah, I think they're naturally disappointed. They're going to go for every single trophy. But I also think they're reasonable and look at this as more testing tournaments for where can we be at and what can we fix. And it's about them discovering what the problems of the lineup is, rather than expecting everything to fit perfectly. They know it's not perfect. They know the recipe isn't there yet. They don't have all the ingredients in the right place. So I think they need to swerve around a little bit with that and find the best outcome. I don't even expect them to win, for them to realistically look at winning the major. I think they can be a playoff team, but that's as good as I see them.
Yeah. It's tough. It is very rough.
They need another 2 months, and we have to give them that.
They've got that time.
It's a big
They've
change.
got that time.
It's not just one player. It's changing the entire directive of the team, changing the structure, changing how you want to call, and that's going to take time. It's not something, but right now they can always swap small things, tweak small things.
But the one thing, why I'm going to come back to the performance coach thing, is a performance coach is a must when you beat Legacy in the group stage, to advance to the semifinals. 2-0. 13-7 Dust 2, 13-9 on Ancient. Yeah? And that's probably why they picked Ancient first as well. I don't particularly think it's like the best map for Falcons as of right now. It also had a huge test performance across that match on the group stage, which is not something you can rely on overall. Yeah. But I feel like for Falcons, it's definitely something changes when you know, especially if you're MongolZ and NiKo, that the whole community is looking at you like you're expected to win this. And they can't handle it. And people can say, oh, psychology doesn't matter, whatever. These are great players. Nope. It's definitely a real thing. If before you've got into the game or the night before, you start thinking, oh, don't let this happen again. Oh, this is a team we should be beating. Oh, we beat them before, all of this is a big factor. And like I said, biggest Karrigan fan, makes me actually be a supporter. Obviously, a big MongolZ fan as well. Oh, wait a sec. I can even do this. NiKo fan as well. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, what is my camera doing? It's full focused on the NiKo mouse.
Sneezing mid-episode. Oh.
That's right. I was only just plugging the NiKo mouse. But yeah, I'm like, honestly, this is a bad final to lose, but it's a growing pains to go through. I think a performance coach is 100% needed for these guys at this point and with just how they've been. But it's all about gearing up for the future and what they can deliver there. And also just, it's going to be interesting because they start stage 3 to see how much they're going to change from here, Definitely they'll take a little break coming back from China and they'll be full grind again. I'm expecting they boot camp as well, which is not a normal thing that we saw from the Falcons in recent times, right? So I'd expect the boot camp to come in there as well and them to try and deliver on that at the same time. And people also need to remember, they did go straight from Astana to China. I was on the same plane as MongolZ when we were going to Istanbul. So they had no downtime, no review time or break time between it all.
Yeah.
But let's look at Legacy, talk about the positives here. So Legacy are back-to-back CAC champions with Lato as the one taking the MVP
on their page than Falcons right now.
Facts. And Lato back-to-back MVP. And I'll just say this was some hella entertaining Counter-Strike. Look at the run they had. Beating NRG, almost losing to Tyloo. Yeah, people can say it's 2-0. Go look at those games. They could have lost it to Tyloo. Then they lose to Falcons, but they go through to the quarters. They beat MongolZ, they beat MIBR, and they start by losing the grand final map against Falcons. The whole Chinese crowd, by the way, is just going for Falcons. Like, they're cheering for both sides. Chinese fans are kind of even, but NiKo and MongolZ, as well as Karrigan, are mega fans. I don't know how many times during that game, watching the final on the stream, you heard wee woo the whole time. Like, it was just some fan is literally, he's by a microphone going wee woo, like anytime there was a moment, anytime. But that ambulance was definitely for Falcons this time around. But Legacy, Lato is a grand finals player. I don't know. I like Lato, for me, goes under the radar because obviously MOUZ is such a lovable character as well. But Lato delivers, man. Lato delivers when it matters most. Huge grand final performance. Let's see, how did he do against MongolZ?
This is kind of what we expected with Legacy, right? When Art comes in, they had some struggles. I mean, last major, they were very, very disappointing and looking on the downtrend. Now we're finally getting this Legacy. Scary against the big teams. Can have really, really exciting games of Counter-Strike because of their aggressive style. The amount of like X factor and clutchiness in all their players doesn't really matter who is in those clutches. Everyone can do them. Even, Art to some degree has that in him. So it's a really, really cool team to watch play Counter-Strike because they are willing to take risks. They're willing to, lose rounds by finding gaps and finding space where normal teams would be a little bit more hesitant, but they keep pushing to find those gaps. And I love this Legacy. I love Art being in it, and I'm really happy that this team is back on the page that they are with Lato and MOUZ, who's always been some of the biggest talents and kind of unused talents to some degree in the Brazilian scenes, because they've been
Not picked
talked up and hyped up for a long time. And
they had a chance to leave, remember? They had a chance to leave. People came for them and they said they wanted to stay with Legacy.
Yeah. And it's been like that in the past as well. And Latte and MOUZ is this like unbreakable duo right now. And they are playing some goddamn good Counter-Strike. And
do you know what? I'll say this from watching it, right? People criticize heavily Sardzin as an AWPer. They're always, when they talk about Legacy, if they just had a better AWPer, like they would be constantly up there. No, guys, the way these guys play CS, they need
defensive.
him. Yeah, they need him to be like this. Like, this is the player I'm not questioning.
It's already wobbling, to one
dude,
side
there
of
is no balance. There is no balance.
He's the only piece there that kind of keeps the board from tilting completely over.
Bro, like Nissim, can get aggressive when needed, and obviously it's Demao and Lato we're looking at as a crazy aggression with it. But the fact they now have Art, who is way more aggressive than Lux ever was, it means that you need Sardzin sometimes to just be there. Now, he's not going to post up incredible numbers. What did he even end with as like his overall numbers for it? Sardzin was a 1.08 rating. So people who just say like all the time, get him better. No, if he is stable and he is consistent and he can do this, I'm fine. I'm completely I'm not changing anything on these pieces because it's working for how they want to play Counter-Strike. You don't need to have always a Manasi or Zaiwu or even Shiro Orpa, right? It's not always needed.
That supportive element alongside Art, because there's so much action happening on the round. They need multiple people to be able to be that supportive element. And obviously you want the AWP to protect your aggressive riflers, and that's what he does. He's not going to be the first one. He's not going to be the one, on the highlight reel. But what he's doing is incredibly important for this team.
And there was also some rounds where they were running double AWP setup, and it was Nissim and Sardzin dropping AWP, like doubling up on the AWP. It was one round where basically it was Sardzin and the MOUZ saved the AWP, so there's 2 AWPs in for the next round. That's how they almost won Nuke as well. They could have closed out Nuke, and it could have been a 3-0. Nuke was a fight. It was a great map of Counter-Strike. Ancient, I would say it was a really bad half for Falcons, but there was certainly a chance for them to win it, clawing it back at the end. But on Mirage and Dust 2, 0 chance. Legacy full in the driving seat. They knew they were going for that trophy. The doubt was already set into the minds of the Falcons players, and they knew they were out of it, But the first 2 maps were competitive. The first 2 maps were the good ones to see it and watch it go down. But, Art and his risky plays, Art will just, like I said, pushing outside randomly, one round, just calling for it, gets nothing done, but then knows how to have his players rotate around on the CT side into good positions. It's like he is the type of leader that these boys want and need, and it may have taken them some time to adjust to him, but this to be able to go back-to-back trophies at CAC with the changes they've been through, with the struggles they've had as well, right? They had 3rd place at Atlanta. They had the 1st place at the Rush B tournament, which is the South American tournament as well. But Rio was really terrible for them. This is a great run, a great confidence boost before the major. But I will say this. Last major was the same thing. Was the exact same thing. What was it where they were? Let me just look down this. I'm going to have to go through some stats. Because it was ahead of Budapest, right? And Lux was still there. Yeah. Was Lux still there at Budapest? Yeah, because it was. So we go big events. And we see... So... I need to do LAN. Just need to do LAN, not big events. Where's Budapest? So they had 1st place CAC, 2nd place PGL Masters Bucharest, 9th to 11th at the major in stage. What stage is this? Right, why can't I see what stage this is?
Stage 3.
Stage 2. Stage 1. Stage 1.
Oh.
Yeah. This time they're in stage 2. We'll give them that. This time, Legacy is starting in stage 2. But I mean, they now need to just hold this, be able to handle it, be able to deal with any other pressure at the major, which is slightly different as well for all teams, all players. But ultimately, this sets them up really nicely. Really, really nicely.
There was also an interview with HLTV and Art as well about Art talking a little bit more about how he's developed a different side of himself as being more of a leader, which he admitted wasn't really his strong suit in the past. So that's great to see. And I think that's something, this team needs. They need a strong leader, need a vocal leader, and they need someone that they can kind of, when going gets tough, kind of be behind. Because in the past, I think, they can have a lot of swing and momentum towards different teams. Like even themselves can have a lot of momentum, but they can also give over the momentum pretty easily to other teams. You need to stop them. And to be able to rally behind Art, I think is a great thing. It makes them super dangerous.
Definitely does. And I feel like this, from what we've seen, is a better looking Legacy who's developed and learned.
They're a scary side.
But they can also still drop a map to anyone and still have these struggles because that's the risky way they play.
I will say this. I don't think we will ever see Legacy win an event without dropping a map.
True.
I do not see that happening.
And by the way, at the end of the MVP interview done on HLTV, who did the interview, so I give them the nice credit, it was Mira. He says, right, and now the major, right, you'll have less than 2 weeks to prepare for it and you'll start in stage 2. How are you going to reset to build on this win and approach for the event with the same energy? Just the fact we won here gives us a clear confidence boost to the upcoming games, but it's also true that now we might be a team that teams are looking out for to study more. So now we're going to prepare for 2 weeks over in Serbia. This is what you should be doing. Any teams not from Europe, we will get good preparation. Keep our heads on straight because there's a major to play and we're aiming for the playoffs and who knows, maybe even a title. And then Mira, great follow-up question. Not too many words to it. No days off, right? And Lato says, no days off. Now we are fully focused on this major, which is really important. This is what I want from the Mongols. This is what I want from other top teams. This is exactly what I want to hear. You're literally going to go from China to Serbia, yeah? Some direct flight there, by the way, so that's going to be nice for them. And then just boot camp in Europe, grind like crazy. I don't know, because obviously Art's a bit older. What's the average age here of Legacy? Average age is 24. Art is 30. So obviously he brings that up. Dumal, 22. Lato, 23.
They're surprisingly
Nissim, 25. Sadzin, 22. So like, they got energy. They can roll through on all of this. And yeah, very exciting team. Huge congratulations to them for not just the championship, but Lato and the back-to-back MVP performances as well,
Yeah.
Definitely really impressive. Cool. So what are we looking at next here, DW? We're going into Atlanta. So
yes.
For anyone, Atlanta was a long time ago. I was doing Astana when Atlanta was taking place. I watched pretty much nothing but the grand final of Atlanta. So I'm not too sure of what happened on it. I'm going to let Devilwalk kind of lead the way on this as much as possible. Obviously, I couldn't work Astana, watch Atlanta, and then go to work every day. That would just be impossible. But some very interesting results in there. A smaller event, still an MVP event. Very happy for my boy Wonderful as well. I messaged him on Telegram, so I can give you guys some insights on how all of that went. But yeah, where do you want to start with this?
I mean, I think we can start like any other tournament, kind of run down the team list of each.
Okay.
It's going to be pretty just quick.
Quickly? Yeah, do you want to look at this, right? BC Game, NRG, Passion UA, and M80. We should just basically skip over them.
Yes.
Because BC Game, we already said non-factor. They had a kind of push game against Vitality with Simple having one good map. He was the highest plated player across that series, but doesn't matter if he did nothing. NRG, still in this weird position. Obviously, they had their full team as well. Passion UA, this game. FaZe. Okay, but I'm just going to say Passion UA, this game basically folded the team.
Yeah.
Because they lost to Na'Vi, they lost to Sinners, and now, right, the recent news was they are open to offers from organizations for the whole team. And you just took Try and SDY, So, like I said, JT's not going to stay on the team for long. People are going to want that guy. JT's in a good position right now for orgs picking him up and going somewhere with it. So let's start with FaZe then, mate. I'm just going to bring up their results. What are we looking at here, Mr. Devilwalk?
Well, I think that it's such a weird team to kind of judge. They obviously went out in 9th to 12th. They had an opening matchup against Pain. They got pretty much demolished, 16-6 or 13-6 and 13-8. They win against NRG, still a bit wobbly on that nuke, a 13-11 on the second map. Go against Vitality next. And they actually play really good. They go overtime on Nuke against Vitality, and then they get kind of brushed aside from Vitality in the second map. So it's hard to categorize because I don't really have any expectations for FaZe because they've been kind of left in the shitter since Karrigan left. They are just scrambling to be competitive. And, you know, I think anything else but last place, and they've probably done something reasonable because I think that they're kind of in the Passions UA boat where, okay, we might have to shut down our season early, but they've loaned in Nature, who's been pretty good. They've changed coach.
They're trying to save the VRS points so they can get to other events. Like, I believe they're even going to go to that XSC event, which is after the major, because obviously they don't have a major.
They're obviously in a scrambling place, and they have actually gained a fair few rankings a little bit since, you know, they were in the dumpster of rank 40 in April, like end of April.
Yep.
So to some degree, they've stabilized around 23. I think it's okay. I don't have any expectations for them, so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
Would you say it's disappointing after ignore the 3rd to 4th place in Rivals, but you beat Fury, you beat G2 in Rivals, and then you end up losing to Pain in that opening game?
I think definitely the opening game is the one that they should be disappointed about. But at the same time, I don't know what to expect. Like, what reasonable expectations can you have when your leader just quits and then you have to scramble and just put the players in to fill the slot? That's kind of where they are at. So I don't feel like I should be criticizing FaZe. I feel like I've done that enough in the past when Karrigan was in the lineup. And now that they have all of this disarray and confusion around their team, I feel it's a bit too harsh to kick on them while they're down, essentially. Let's let them breathe a little bit, let them kind of figure their shit out, and then we can either shit or praise them again next time.
Well, someone who's going to struggle to be praised here is Foot. Now, obviously, Foot did end up playing Rivals, was it, without Laux. He had health problems, but then Laux came back. And you think, okay, we should expect some good performance. Now, I didn't actually message Laux. I should have thought about this, but obviously I wasn't doing Atlanta. He didn't have the best individual tournament, so he might still be struggling himself.
Yeah,
and he also wouldn't have been
usual self.
Yeah, so that's a factor because obviously health issues are a serious thing. Foot is a team we hold to a very high standard. They're, as of right now, 11th in the VRS, but they were within top 10. They were getting all the invites. They were in a good position. They beat NRG, but then they lose to Pain 2-1. And then they lose to Bait 2-0, and that is the end of their run. This is a team where, especially looking at this, I had them making a deep run, being maybe top 3, top 4 of the whole event.
I mean, this was a golden opportunity for them to rival Na'Vi for the title, right?
Yeah.
Or even Vitality, we originally thought, but we made our predictions before we knew that Vitality kind of didn't
kept not practicing
for this event.
Kept going. So. They're just full chilling in America. They took this as a whole. Well, we'll come to that. We'll come to that later.
Yeah, but this is a massive disappointment for Foot. You know, when you're dropping out in tournaments in the same place as FaZe and Liquid, I think you're in trouble. So they definitely need to kind of recenter themselves and figure out, okay, what did we do before the other tournaments that made us so freaking good, and kind of get back to that recipe because they're not looking sharp right now or in this tournament.
Yeah. And I think the smart thing here is that I know they will be going on a full boot camp. Foot will be putting that work in before major. They're in stage 3 of the major, right? If I'm correct. Let's see. Let's make sure I'm not waffling some lies out here. Foot should have been stage. No, they're stage 2. Stage 2 for them. Okay, stage 2 for their first major. So a lot to look at with this and grow from, but I mean, this isn't a team I'm worried about, you know, just from these performances.
I don't think
they've got their reasons for it.
Make them disappear in any sense of the word. I think they just need to refocus and find the recipe they had previously.
We can skip Liquid because we already talked about them on CAC, same position as Atlanta, so we can just move straight on to Sinners.
Sinners?
Not a team we see too often.
No. an interesting team. It's a team we don't see too often. Obviously, opening game against GamerLegion, who had a fantastic tournament, managed to pick up the first map, and then GamerLegion made a comeback, knocked them down to the lower bracket, which they faced a Passions UA, and they basically made a classic disband kind of game versus Passions. I don't know if they are disbanding, but at least they ended their season early after this game. It's a great comeback to kind of get into a matchup against Astralis. The thing with Sinners, they're an interesting up-and-coming team, but you don't expect them to run away and get playoffs in a decently stacked tournament like this.
Yeah, for the level Sinners are playing at, this is a tough tournament. Like, they're not used to this, right? So they already struggle in some of these lesser tournaments, these tier 2, tier 3 tournaments. So despite them being in stage 1 of the major, this is like, I didn't have hopes for them, really.
No, it's a warm-up for them. And I think, considering they are competitive, they are in the games, it's not like they're getting completely wiped off the server. I feel like it's a great space for them to be. They can test their waters a little bit in this tournament before the major, kind of see where they're at and how much they actually need to push themselves to get those extra percentages. So I still expect them to be kind of a dangerous team to play off against. They're so uncertain. I don't think a lot of teams have that much info on them compared to other teams that we've seen in the past. So not a great tournament, but it's not bad.
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad given the situation.
Yeah.
And a lot of learning they can take from it. So after that, we've got Bait. Obviously, we did cover them in CAC, but I feel like Bait's run here, like losing to BetBoom, we said how close that game could be. I think, like, did we split that on predictions? I probably went for Bait, right? So I predicted Bait, you predicted BetBoom, and it really was a coin toss. Anyone can win that game between these two teams. Bait beat BC Game, then they beat Foot, then they lose to Vitality. No shame in any of this at all. Nope. Sizzy had a great game against Vitality, which is why I expect him to do better at CAC, but also first time for him going to China and America, so a lot to learn and grow from the boy. What did you think?
No, I think overall a good tournament. This has kind of been, the start of some of their resurgence period where they're starting to find form and get into that Bait that ended up at top 10 in the world or within the previous majors. So I think they're in a good spot. I think they're growing every tournament, and that's what matters for them right now.
For sure. Astralis next. Oh,
this one is a bit.
I'm guaranteed they wish they accepted the CAC invite and had an idea of this before. Because
so obviously going into this tournament, they beat Liquid 2-0 in the opening game. They got Legacy, and this is kind of before we knew exactly how good are Legacy, how dangerous are they with this new art. So going into that matchup,
new art.
I think Astralis probably figured out, okay, we're probably a little bit of favorites coming into this upper semifinals in the group. And they got kind of destroyed, to be honest. We had Lato again. He had a 165 rating against Astralis, to MOUZ on the board, Art even a 129 rating. So they didn't really have that much of a chance. Then they came up against Sinners, played a pretty close series, 13-11, 13-8, but got the win in the end, and played GamerLegion, which again, they got almost like completely stomped. It's a 13-3 Mirage and a 13-8 Ancient for GamerLegion, which kind of ended their run, right? For that last playoff spot, which GamerLegion was the one clinching. So
I'm starting to have question marks around Ryu and Fuzi. Now, Fuzi, we've been singing praises of him, but he is a very hit or miss, or he can have life games or great games and then completely non-factors. But Ryu, I feel like, started his journey on Astralis. Let me back this up with some stats. Let's go to player. His journey with Astralis started off really well. Impressive ratings, good performances, 1.09, 1.19. And then it just got worse and worse. Okay at Bucharest, but he's not been the same level as player. Now, remember JL told us back in Budapest when he came on the podcast that, like, Ryu's one of the hardest working players he knows, always grinding. It's a great opportunity for him. Well, right now, that opportunity is slipping through his fingers because we shouldn't be looking at Yabby and Stair being the ones to do the heavy lifting for Astralis.
I think the problem he has sometimes, and this is kind of a Astralis problem, is when they struggle, he struggles a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of needs to be that player who still performs, still finds consistency, and it's probably part of why Astralis is a little bit inconsistent. It has, he's not used to anchoring that role or taking on that responsibility in some sense, and it's tough for him. He's not in the easiest of positions because they need him to play well for them to have good games. You can see it, when they win against Sinners, Rio, top of the scoreboard. You see it, he's, third but really good game, a 125 rating against Liquid to bring them over the board. But then you see, he's a bit more struggling in the losses that they have. And I mean, against GamerLegion, a 0.45 rated performance in 2 maps is it's rough. But Astralis is really hit and miss. It's like every other game they play well, every other game they play bad. So it's the same old problem with them, I feel, for the last couple of tournaments.
Similar kind of problem for Pain as well. Kind of leads us in quite nicely because I felt like Pain's run here up until I thought they would beat BetBoom. When I saw that matchup, I thought Pain's caliber, Pain's style, right? BetBoom, who have less experience as a team right now, as a collective, playing tier 1 events, where Pain definitely has that. I thought this is where Pain go to semifinals. They beat BetBoom. Obviously, Boomich and Co managed to get the job done. Flammers, who is, as far as I'm aware, right, he's not playing the major, or he doesn't know he's playing the major for BetBoom or not right now. They're starting stage 1. What's the roster confirmed? Oh no, Flammers is there for the major, according to the lineup as we have right now. So he is sticking out. I know it was in question for a little while, but that's good. They're going to keep the performances going, considering how well he's been playing. But yeah, this is going to be.
But overall, it's quite a good tournament from Pain now. They made playoff. They definitely, they beat Foot. They beat FaZe. They played close against BetBoom. They also had a pretty close series with winning 1 map against GamerLegion. I think it's positives considering where Pain have been. To make it to playoff in a 6th playoff bracket, I think is really good.
Very true. I'll give you that. I guess I just against who they were facing, it's not like they just lost to tier 1 opponents, No,
but I think they did what they came there to do, and that is to reach playoff. And I don't know if you can expect them to be top 4 at this event. Because you still have Vitality, you have Navi, obviously they could maybe have fought for a top 4 position now that we look at the kind of end of the bracket, with Legacy and BetBoom being there and GamerLegion being 2nd. But yeah, I feel like it's a decent tournament for them, and they got a couple of wins. You look at even the VRS, they got 100 VRS points. They're one of the biggest winners of the event in terms of VRS. So in that sense, I feel like it's a good tournament for them. Definitely
a good tournament then. I can see it from that perspective, yes. I just personally, when I'm looking at Pain, and I'm not talking about Pain that made a deep run at the Austin Major, but I'm talking about Pain as they are now. It's when you're not facing the elite teams, I would have expected them to beat a BetBoom or a GamerLegion. Obviously, other teams have good runs.
I think a lot of people probably underestimated BetBoom coming into this tournament anyways.
And GamerLegion. Even if GamerLegion doing well at Rivals, it still was an unexpected one to see them go that far. Then, 5th to 6th, not even semis, not even grand final, Vitality. My, oh my. Now, what is it? The only teams that have beaten Vitality is BetBoom,
Navi maybe?
Navi and Falcons? Oh no, and Furia, not Falcons.
Furia.
Yeah, maybe in 2026 they might have lost to Falcons. Yeah, they did lose to Falcons. So in 2026, Falcons, not Furia, because they lost that best of 3.
So
not a grand final.
The one thing I'll say about this, I will reference some. So the people who are my age, 35 plus or whatever you wanna, fans of the old Counter-Strike days.
Yes.
NIP. They had, the streak going on, and no one could beat them. They were unbeatable. But I will say that once people tasted blood, they kept losing. And I think that Vitality has given some of their blood to some of these teams. People are seeing they are mortal now. They're not gods. And they will be able to look at these games, reference them. Because if BetBoom can win against Vitality, then we can too. I think that's going to be in plenty of motivational speeches going into Vitality matches coming forward.
These scrubs lost to BetBoom. We can beat them.
One of the biggest things about being number one is the weight that holds when you go into matches. When you are so unbeatable as Vitality has been, you go into a game, and even if you want to tell yourself, I'm going to play all out, I'm going to try to beat them, you're still going to be scared. You're still going to show respect to these players as you enter the servers. That's just natural. But I think once Navi and BetBoom now have kind of showed, okay, they're not as good as they were. It's our time now. People will get motivated and people will smell that blood and try to go for the kill. I'm just saying this might have been a massive fumble from Vitality to not practice and instead maybe not even be at the tournament if they wanted to take a rest, so they don't show that weakness for other teams going into the major. So
there's a lot of points you made there that I completely agree with when it comes to the blood, where people now will see them not as like unbeatable, because Blast Rivals, they also didn't practice, right? And they beat Foot, beat G2, beat GamerLegion, beat Navi, won the tournament. Then they continued not practicing in America. Now, I'm going to say this about Atlanta. Atlanta was not a big event, right? It was not an event people cared about so much. It's still an MVP event. It's still classified as a big event, but this is not like the top teams there for Vitality to face off against. So they probably thought they could still walk it and not practice. Like Apex and Mezzy released a vlog where they're going around New York chilling. Flamesy, Rops, and Zyru went off to the mountains and went exploring and hiking everywhere. Like, they're enjoying their time, and they deserve to do that with all their victories. 100%. Nothing against them. But I think the only reason they accepted Atlanta was in case they didn't win Rio, that they would win the Grand Slam here. So you won Rio, you won the Grand Slam, you achieved what you wanted, you win Blast Rivals, and yes, they would have loved to win Atlanta, but I don't think it held the same motivation for them, because if they hadn't won Grand Slam, they definitely would have practiced, you know?
Yeah.
And you obviously have to accept these invites so early on. So I'm going to say, yes, the blood is there now. People will look at them as like beatable, but you know they're going to come back with full of vengeance. Like the pieces they have, the mentality for the major. Like, this is not a Vitality that go in now as underdogs. It just goes in as a team that they can take fights and they can lose maps and they can lose series now.
The thing is, they will, even with 2 weeks of boot camping, still have some rust from these tournaments, because they've been, kind of away from CS for a little bit longer than other teams would have been. So there's still going to be some rust at the major. Obviously, the major is a very long tournament and they will get better, but there's still risk taking in this. And I think that the group stages will not be as clean as we might think in the major.
Okay. But looking at this, right? The loss to BetBoom, okay, that's one thing. Losing to Navi, who have also not won maps against you, right? If I'm correct on it all. Yeah, they just didn't win maps. So it was like 3-0, 2-0, 3-0. Like, it's been constant struggles for Navi against Vitality. You get the wonderful peaking before the major and rising up better than ever, dominating in it, right? This has done so much good for their mentality, right? And remember that quote from Alexi? It doesn't matter if you win a tournament, that Vitality is not there. Like, you need to beat Vitality to win the tournament. Like, that's what's important. And that obviously we'll come on to later, but that's what they did. But for Vitality, this is at least a kick in the ass to understand where you're at and what can happen. Because Navi's one thing, BetBoom's a completely other thing. Like, they are different aspects. 100%. But that does lead us nicely into BetBoom, because BetBoom, what a run. Bait, Vitality, Pain, all three maps for sure. Boomich calling throughout all of this, grinding out on it. I don't know, how well did Flamas do in the end? Because I'm always just keen to watch it.
Really, really good.
Second best of the team. Yeah, and finally, This is the first team since GamerLegion that's used him correctly. He wasn't used correctly on VP. They destroyed the poor kid, who I like very much. I think he's got a great mentality, a great attitude. He did whatever VP wanted, and they just sucked the life out of the poor boy. Then he went to OG, also wasn't great, right? Was not even a top team, if we're going to be honest. And now he gets Boomich. Now he's speaking Russian again. He's got his full team around him, what he wants to do. Maybe we can finally see Flamas hit the positive level that you need him to hit. And it's a very good sign for BetBoom right now as a team that I think BetBoom has opportunity. I'm just trying to see, because they'll be stage
if you
one,
just
right?
Look at the VRS points again,
Yeah.
I'm going to reference this because it makes much more sense to see the success of a team in a tournament. BetBoom got 135 points. They rose from 23rd to 17th, which is... There's usually a bigger gap in points in these rankings. So they were the third biggest earner of this tournament, of only GamerLegion and Legacy above them in terms of points. Massive tournament for them. Hugely important. They put themselves in the same position as the Legacies for invites for next season. So they've cemented themselves in a position, with them obviously playing the major as well, where they could potentially be on the lists of the rest of the season, depending on how well they do at the major in terms of invites. So they'll have plenty of chances. They're cemented themselves. They're going to be in Tier 1 tournaments for next season. So absolutely humongous tournament.
Unless they bomb out of the major. Yeah.
Okay. The only
they're not in the safe spot.
Catastrophic performance would be 0-3 instantly, right?
Yeah. But look at the run they've had.
Points from winning games at the major, because it's so high up in the priority of points that it doesn't matter. If they pick up 2 wins, I think they'll be in Tier 1 tournaments next season.
And look at this, right? They won Roman Imperium Cup, even beating G2 along the way. Then they lost state. Well, they came second at state rank, but only losing to G2 in the whole tournament. We ignore Nod win clutch because they played with a stand in there for Patsy for one map, which is not ideal. And they bounce back like that. They are on a rise, and a meteoric rise again. So that's to be looked at. And obviously Legacy, I don't think we need to talk too much about their run here, because this has obviously gone on to the good that happened in CAC, right? So I think for them, they beat NRG. No, sorry. They beat M80, Astralis, Na'Vi. The Na'Vi win is huge. Lose to GamerLegion. Then they beat BetBoom. They grab a 3rd place. Pretty solid.
Yeah. Wait, I'm on the right tournament. Yeah, Legacy, great tournament. You can't really fault them for this one. Also huge winners of this one. 2nd best in terms of rating. They made a meteoric rise, like, from these 2 tournaments. Like, absolutely huge. So, great tournament from them. And this is what I mean by Legacy. You know, they're never going to be in a position where they're just gonna cleanly run through an event. It's gonna be very up and down. That's just the way they play and the way they see Counter-Strike. So they're gonna have some close games that they probably should have won on paper, but then they'll have the other way around, right? They can lose against anyone, but they can also win against anyone because of the play style they have.
Definitely. GamerLegion, bro.
Wow.
GamerLegion from top 4 at a blast, which obviously you only have to win very simple amount of games to be able to go through, but they did beat Furia there and beat Astralis. Into this run was crazy because you beat Sinners, lose to Na'Vi, then you go on a tear of Liquid, Astralis, Pain, and Legacy. Yeah. Obviously, you get dumpstered in the finals. It was only close on Nuke at the very end, you know. I would just say that this GamerLegion, it must be something about IEMs in America that Rez can perform. Or snacks. Big Apple, bro, it's funny how this has come together and worked, because making playoffs would have been a positive for him. 2nd place is a dream scenario for GamerLegion as they are right now.
Yeah, and they were starting to become a team you started to count out of being, able to even go to playoffs in some of these events. So for them to finally show up, finally see, Res playing amazing. You see PR, he's back in form. You have that little bit more stability from Hypex in the opening situation. Starting to look really good again. And I'm really happy for them. Also on the VRS. Huge jump up, 217 points, plus 5 positions in the placements, and now they are in a really good spot.
Very, very good spot. This helps them so much. And they'll be starting stage 1 of the major. So easy pickings for them. I've done a 3-0 GamerLegion at the major and making it through before, and it's gone badly, but I believe in them 3-0 this time.
All right.
Because they're handling business. They got a different coach now, a different mentality, different logo on their chest. But Snacks at the helm. It was IGL. Let's go. I can see this working.
Oh, really nice.
I can see this working. I think this will be the positives, Okay, so from there we got to look at Na'Vi.
Yep.
Mate. Na'Vi winning IEM Atlanta. Wonderful, who watched so many of his teammates grab MVP after MVP while he couldn't do it. And we did, if no one's seen this, go watch All About Wonderful podcast episode we did back at the major. Long deep dive on his career. This guy's peaks came before he was on Spirit, a little bit into Spirit, then he dropped down. He struggled to be the AWP he wanted to be, play the way he wanted to play and come into form. If we can get him once again leveling up at a major, this unlocks so much for Na'Vi. This gives them so much opportunity. And like, Imma won an MVP. JL won an MVP. Did Bit win an MVP during that time? Pretty sure Bit won an MVP during that time. Must have. It's basically everyone except Alexi had won MVP. Yeah, Bit won the Esports World Cup MVP. Like, everyone was taking turns of MVPs. McCarthy even got one.
Yeah.
And now finally, after all this time, all this grind, remember, this is the person who had to fill in the shoes as another Ukrainian sniper for Simple. And he's not Simple. He's doing it his way. To get Wonderful playing like this is incredible. Like, what was his stats at the end? He dropped a 1.31 rating, 16 maps being played in there. Just individual brilliance, dominated against Vitality. I think that's the big one, right? To have that performance. I was worried the Bit was going to try and catch him up, but Wonderful even kept it in the grand final. So I'm happy for Wonderful. What was it? You can keep talking. You can talk about Na'Vi a little bit and I can go through it.
Yeah, I mean, it's everything in this tournament. It's such a release for them. They win a trophy. They beat Vitality, So on HLTV, Alexi B did an interview where it doesn't really matter if they didn't practice, didn't matter if this wasn't the best Vitality. Just the fact that they've done it matters so much and has an effect on these people. So I think it's a massive boost in confidence.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of teams that can say, no matter what the circumstances, that they've been in the same tournament as Vitality and they've won it.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of teams that can do that. And Na'Vi can now. And they go with that feeling into the major. It's, I had a good feeling about Na'Vi going into the last major, but I can say with confidence that I got an even better feeling about them going into this one.
Definitely. And by the way, this was Wonderful's career best big event rating, 1.31.
Yeah.
Prior to that, it was 1.27. After that, it was 1.17. He jumped up massively. Like, he smashed his own numbers and records.
Did you see what they did with the salt water?
Huh?
So, their performance coach.
Yeah.
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 So she, I think on Twitter, there was something where essentially they give some of the players salt water before games because it's like it reacts in your body and it's because of bad taste. They drink it, so they get more kind of focus,
like alert
before, because kind of like opens up your, I don't know exactly how it works, but it makes you more awake and more aware and more focused essentially. And they've started to do that before games with some of the players. So that they don't start so slowly.
I'm trying to find it. need to see this now.
Yeah, I saw it on Twitter.
Can you find it?
Let me find it. Did you find it?
Oh, no. Oh, shit. I'm just trying to call her. I need to call her. Never allowed. There's a Twitter caller.
There's so much posts, obviously.
Yeah, there's so many posts.
But I saw it on Reddit where she essentially was answering.
Okay, yeah, I don't see it on the Twitter.
Let me find it. You can keep on talking. I'll find it. And I'll bring it up to you.
So this win for Na'Vi is huge for them because they beat Vitality. They went and lifted a trophy. Wonderful getting an MVP. Wonderful having... Remember, I think it was wonderful and Budapest had crazy performances as well up until we got to playoffs, right? So, like, if we go all the way back and look at it, it's like, yeah, he had a 1.7 something in one of the stages. So he was dominant there as well. But now it's about keeping this form up into the major and the rest of the team delivering. Like, things are working out, maybe a bit slower than what we normally say, because I'm kind of looking at it from a perspective of... I lost my trail of thought. Okay, I lost my trail of thought on it. I look at it as like, Na'Vi can challenge Vitality now. It's going to be different at the major. But even with Blade's system and him saying it takes this time, 6 months normally, he thinks they can perform. It's been a little bit longer. It took longer to get MongolZ integrated as well. But they look to be enjoying themselves, even in the defeats of like losing to Vitality in 2 finals in a row, right? In Rotterdam and Rivals. So, megally impressive. I am worried about what happens when they face Spirit in current form, though.
I did that'll be scary. From another site. I found it vaguely, but there's links in that article.
You sent it to me? Where?
Yeah, on Discord.
Okay. CS2 stars drink salty water before matches to win. I bring salty water for wonderful. When you drink something unpleasant, your body produces dopamines, which really helps you focus. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is funny and crazy.
Got his career best performance with salty water.
Well, it worked for him. Don't change it if he believes in those things. Don't back away from it. But I think that brings us nicely to Atlanta. I will say this. Atlanta crowd was amazing from what I saw. Atlanta crowd looked great. Obviously, we spoke about it. It already benefits from having that DreamHack and stuff mixed in with the middle of it. But awesome, really. Fantastic. I think, like, good crowd there. Everyone was super hyped. Good energy as well. Positives all around for Atlanta being a smaller event in terms of the team names and stuff. Did pretty good. Happy days. All right, what else we got? We just got one more thing on our list before we get to the Q&A. It's looking at IEM Cologne stickers and the crazy prices. I'm actually going to start up CS to see where we're at right now, Devilwalk. So first of all, Cologne stickers. Actually amazing. Actually the best stickers we've had in such a long time. The stained glass, the little Cologne at the bottom. Because before in some of it, it had like the event name away from the sticker, Obviously, the belt buckle for Austin, that was still a good one in there. Let me turn my CS sound down. I don't need volume. Volume 0. There we go. But overall, these stickers are cooking. I'll say what looks even better. So we're kind of unlucky. I will bring up a picture of this. I will put this in. But teams that have like white and gray logos, it looks terrible because you've just got gray, like Bait logo, GamerLegion, G2, 9Z. 9Z could have been purple, by the way. I don't know what we're doing there. But like the Na'Vi one, the Vitality one, the Falcons one looks great. The Legacy one looks great. Astralis as well. Like when you've got some color to it, the best sticker is actually the Cologne 2026 one, which is like the ESL one. I can't lie. That's just dope. But it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how good it looks. Now, what I want to understand now, right, is if we go down here, just going to look at how we now get the stickers. Because look, you visit the shop. So you pick a team. I like Na'Vi, yeah? And then I click and I say, okay, I want a bit. And then the cost is 7277 of what? So
euros.
What does that? No, buy tokens. So that's 56.76 euros for a bit gold sticker. Yeah? So I can't open a capsule anymore and get it. Now, I understand Valve had a lot of problems with the gambling laws and all the things around the world changing. I'm not some like complete degenerate gambler. I just bet on boxing. Like there's nothing, I don't even bet on UFC or anything. I just watch boxing, bet on boxing. Obviously don't bet on any esports stuff.
Yeah.
But you now need to buy tokens and you can get the stickers you want. Now I just did a bit example, yeah? And we're going to show you the stickers and what I'm looking at here. So Donk, obviously super popular player, one of the best players in the world, right? Let's look at what his price of sticker. His gold sticker is 76. So if I add one to it, sorry, 78,124 tokens. If I go to buy this, that is 752 euro, Devilwalk.
What?
Oh, wait a second. No, that's also with the bit sticker. Wait, 680. I nearly. Still 687 euros.
But that it doesn't matter. No fucking shot, man. What the fuck is this?
But then on top of that, right? So, okay, capsules are great. People just open the capsules, get a sticker. They keep trying, right? People have watched me on stream. I have done this. When I wanted Na'Vi stickers, I was opening maybe 200-300 euros worth of stickers. Yeah. Supporting the game. It goes back to Valve. It goes back to the teams. All great. I'm going to tell you this now. There's not a single sticker I'm buying when I'm looking at these prices, bro. I don't care that much. When if I could just open a capsule, yeah, and get something and have it, and you know, sometimes I would get a good one that I don't want and I can sell it.
I will not be allowed from the missus to buy stickers, donk stickers for 700 euros.
Let's have a look at Zywu. Let's compare Zywu as well, right? I don't know how popular they think. Oh yeah, look. So look at this top 40 popular stickers right now, yeah? Period Junior's up there. Lato's up. Oh yeah, Lato obviously. Let's see what Lato's is going up after this. His is probably still a more reasonable. I'm just going to remove the donk one. 10 euros for a Lato sticker right now.
All right.
But now this is like a market of investment because you know what happens? As more people buy the stickers, the price goes up. Yeah? So because donk is so popular, because Zywu is so popular, the price goes up. Zywu is actually cheaper than donk.
Yeah.
So we go through this. Zywu is only 416, but still 416. I am looking at the gold stickers, to be fair. Like, if you want just a normal Zywu sticker, right? So if you are just a fan of Zywu in general, you can buy his normal one. Oh, I already have enough points for this, so that doesn't really work. How do I work out? I've got 900 points. 100 tokens is 0.89. And he costs 175. So a normal Zywu sticker, not too bad. Obviously, I'm looking at the gold ones, right? Then you can look at the hollow ones. Some of the hollow ones are beautiful, by the way. We preview. Oh, no, that's in my skins. I don't want to preview on there. Let's remove that. So the hollow one is still going to cost you $8.90 to buy more tokens. Obviously, I didn't know I had 900. So the numbers I gave you are even more increased because I still have some tokens myself from opening the thing up. But like, I think this might, even though this is great, and I could be wrong here, by the way, maybe people are spending way more money than I expect, but I feel like this will have a negative effect on the money that goes into the teams and to the TO and everything else like that.
I don't know how to grasp it. It's obviously very, very new, but obviously buying like a golden donk sticker, and I don't know how many people are actually doing it, but it seems like a lot since the prices have kind of gone up. Do you know what it started at? Like when? No
idea what it's. I wasn't there when it was live. You know. Just going on to the CS2 Twitter because I'm opening this.
Yeah. But either way, I'm obviously not going to buy a donk sticker or Zywu sticker or any of the sorts.
Also, do you want to hear this? Right? So why aren't you selling capsules? In the past, we shipped team and player autographs and capsules. While this approach was popular, we've heard feedback that players might prefer to purchase stickers directly. Additionally, players in certain regions cannot purchase sticker capsules, so we're exploring alternatives that allow all players to participate.
Okay. I mean, fair, but...
Okay, but then look at this. So, How are sticker prices set? The price of all stickers depends on relative demand. This means that if one sticker is purchased disproportionately more than another, its price will go up and the other stickers will go down. After a large number of stickers are sold, all sticker prices will update. You'll get a warning if you're shopping when this is about to happen. The prices in tokens you see are the same prices for everyone worldwide. So that also means cheaper regions, right? Or less rich regions, right? In terms of money, they're also going to kind of suffer with it.
Yeah.
What if the sticker price goes down after I redeem my tokens? If the price of any redeemed sticker decreases by 25 tokens or more within the next 24 hours, we'll automatically issue a refund of tokens for the difference between your redemption price and the lowest price in that period. Refunds are automatically credited to your tokens. So that's pretty good, right?
That's good.
Then I'm going to show you this. So the royalties. How are royalties shared among the tournament organizer, teams, and players? 50% of total major shop and major pass revenue is shared as royalties with the tournament organizer, teams, and players. The chart below shows how that 50% is distributed. Note that for each team position, half of the royalties are shared with the team organization and the other half is split equally among the 5 players. Between now and the grand final, royalties are shared based on the team's global VRS leading into the event. After the grand final, royalties will be shared based on the final standings of the major. That's a huge change.
Oh, wow.
So,
that's actually
obviously, it starts from 32, right, which you get a 0.72%. It goes all the way up. It goes top 16, 1.35, top 8, 2%, top 4, 2.25, top 2, 2.35, number 1 team 2.85. The tournament organizer gets 5%. Now I need to check with some people, but I don't know.
I read that Messioso actually wrote on Twitter, and I checked.
He's a genius,
and he
of course.
said that this was always the case. By the way, this is just that it's not public information, but it was the case even in prior sticker capsule that the tournament organizer got 5%.
Okay, that's fine then. So that nothing changed there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. I'm glad that you came out and saw that, made it work. But like, I understand they're trying to get away from the gamba, and there's a lot of people, by the way, who hate gambling. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like this will limit the amount of people that will actually.
It definitely
takes
some of the excitement off it, because why they were so popular is also because of that gamba mechanic. There were streamers streaming it, and you know there was exciting
I streamed it all the time.
clips,
I'm like
revolving
Navi.
around it, so it kind of created this huge kind of, you know, like social media marketing kind of deal with it. Now it's just gonna be, I mean, you have the sticker. You don't see people jumping around in chairs because they got the sticker worth $200, you know?
Yeah. Also, if that many people are buying donk stickers for like 500 euros or 600 euros, yeah? Remember, now all this money is one pool. It's not like Legends capsules. So even it doesn't matter if you're donk or not.
Well, it matters what you
matter.
You end up in the tournament.
Where you end. Yeah. But it says, look, the chart. So wait a sec. To make sure I'm understanding this correctly, because you're smarter than me on this. Note that for each team position, half the royalties are shared with the team organization, the other half is split equally among 5 players. Then, between now and the final, royalties are shared based on the team's global VRS. So they're going to count the money from now to the final and do it based on where the VRS is. So Vitality number 1, obviously, right? But then, after the grand final, all of it will be based on the final standings. So if you're a team who punched way above your VRS at the end, you could be walking away with crazy money. Also, does this mean there's not going to be a discount anymore? You know, we used to get a capsule discount. Is there a token discount?
Probably not.
And also, from this, how I understand it, there could now be no Champions capsule.
I hope they still do a Champions capsule, though.
They should. They should.
Well, it won't be a capsule, but like a champion sticker or whatever that everyone can buy.
Yeah. But also, do you think this, right? So let me just go back to it again. 32, right? Being last place team, 0.72%. Don't you feel like if you're the number 1 team and you win the event, 2.85 isn't enough?
It's still
Should they get more? Is it? Yeah, but okay, they need to see how the sales are going to go before I jump the gun on it all. But I'll just say this.
Still an increase compared to before? Because before it was just depending on what capsule you qualified in, right?
Yeah, and obviously, but the good capsules were the ones with like Spirit, Na'Vi, Vitality, all the ones that were in the top lot, right?
Yeah.
So they would do very well because loads of people are buying those donk ones.
I don't know if it will be worse. Probably worse for the top teams.
Yeah, I can imagine it's going to be worse.
Yeah.
And I'll say this, out of all updates, I know, first of all, everyone who's watching, everyone in the community, please tell me in the comments, what do you think of this update? Maybe we are wrong. Maybe by us just saying we like capsules, maybe the actual majority of Counter-Strike fans hate the capsules, hate the Gamba and stuff like that.
The one thing that I'll say, though, if someone is buying a sticker for $500, that's essentially someone buying before like 600 capsules for one sticker.
No, because the capsules before discount was like 175.
Okay, but let's say 500, whatever it is.
Sure.
The one purchase is still a lot of purchases of the past. So maybe because of the pricing and because it's so ridiculously high, that it will even out a little bit because of the sticker crazy people.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to see, but I imagine it's gonna be a bit lower. But
yep. So I want our community, I want everyone who's watching to let us know what they think of this because it's very important. Maybe we are completely out of it. I preferred the capsules personally because I was often only going for one team or something, and I just want to go and find that. Yes, I can go out and buy it, but guess what? My team's Na'Vi. They're not going to be cheap, so I'm probably not going to buy this now. Like I don't imagine I'm buying. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you'll see me streaming and I'll pick one up, but I can't see it. And then also we need to look at what happens on the market afterwards, where people have bought them here, and then what do they add them to the market for?
Who will rise and who will fall in terms of sticker value?
We think of this, right? This is a whole other market now. It's in my mind.
Yeah.
So you buy the donk sticker at this 500 mark. Yeah, I forget the number, so just say 500 euros. Then the event ends, and maybe only 200 people ever bought that sticker because it was so expensive. Then you could sell it on the market afterwards for like 1,000 because it's a rare sticker.
Yeah.
And this is, by the way, where sticker design is going to be more interesting for people as well. Like maybe people like certain logos and things. Oh, it's going to be crazy to watch. I'll just say this. I've agreed with so many updates. I've defended Valve. I love all the things with like Animagraph and CS2 and where we've gone. This one for me is an L. But maybe I could be wrong. Maybe I could be wrong. See. Oh, yeah. Also, there was another thing. I don't know if this is in the update, but we need to touch on this as well. You can craft your own souvenirs. So, Souvenir-O-Matic. Yeah? What will you bring to the signing session? Now you can craft your own souvenir. Take any normal or souvenir quality weapon in your inventory and select a completed match. And one of the players... you'll get your weapon back in souvenir quality with gold team, autograph, and map stickers applied. Now, for example, does that mean I could turn... Well, wait a sec. I have a normal Dragon Lore factory new. The souvenir ones are so much more rarer. Can I change my Dragon Lore to be a souvenir?
Good question.
Shall I try?
Why not try?
I'm opening OBS. I'm not actually going to confirm it, just to be clear, because that would be crazy.
But you won't get it until the match has ended anyways?
I don't know. Let's have a look.
Because it has to be a match that's been played, right?
Oh, yeah. The item will commemorate this.
So you can't test it now.
Damn it. I was hoping I could see what Souvenir-O-Matic could be.
Because before they had similar system, except you didn't choose the weapon, you just chose the match and you got a souvenir from it, right?
Yeah. But it's saying you can turn any skin into it now, right? So if I just go to my Dragon Lore and goes in upgrade? No. Okay, you can't upgrade it.
But maybe it's when you click on the match, you get a souvenir, pick weapon. From there,
make souvenirs. Convert any of your weapons into autograph souvenirs. Click on the finished match below. Yeah, so I need to click on a finished match below to do it. Yeah. Okay, so we'll find that out later on. We'll work that out for ourselves later on.
But that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but that's crazy for the people that own a Dragon Lore. Yeah? So let's have a look at this. Dragon Lore.
But imagine you click a spirit match and you get a donk golden sticker on it.
Oh, bro.
And all of a sudden, those stickers combined with the weapons, $700 each.
Okay, look at this. Yeah, look at this. Factory new Souvenir Dragon Lore right now is... That can't be $515,000. Yeah, minimal wear $206,000. Field tested $37,000. I'll say this: a factory new Dragon Lore, by the way, used to be like $15K. It's now down at 10.7. So prices are still taking a dip. Yeah. But just imagine if you then if you can suddenly create tons of souvenir Dragon Lores. Obviously, you need to have a Dragon Lore anyway, which is rare. Yeah, but you can now. That's going to tank those prices.
Yep.
Oh my so God,
fuck this. West Ham is 1-0 up. Tottenham is 1-0 up. And it's...
Well, let's do Q&A so you can go and suffer in silence for all of this.
My God.
Yeah?
Yep.
We're at the end of the episode anyway. We've got to do a good spot. So, first question. Aska says, Falcons choked every final they had been in since Bucharest 2025. Reasons and solutions. I think we covered it a bit already in the episode, so hopefully you watched that.
I think we just have to be patient right now, because I think them even being in grand finals, in tournaments, is a good thing. I think we have to wait until after the major for this to be fixed. Definitely.
And definitely a bit of NiKo and MongolZ struggling in these things. Rico just says, one more star player. That's not really a question. All right, next question is from Masaru, and he says, Masaru, sorry. Is the Cologne Major more open now to Na'Vi or Spirit, or will Vitality just come back stronger? I definitely think it's more open, but I still favor Vitality.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
And this is a good one. Nepo. Hey, I was wondering how your friendship began and how it grew to what it is now, personal and professional wise. Have a good one, guys. Love from France. Thanks for saving my work days with my favorite CS podcast. Well, first of all, thank you very much for the lovely words. Appreciate you. And Devilwalk, you can start.
I mean, we met at events and you were doing interviews and stuff like that, and we kind of talked and chilled, but I wouldn't really say that's where our real friendship started. I think that's when we went and did Gamers together. When we became really close, because we were spending, was it like 30 days on the same hotel?
Same schedule almost. You were actually up earlier than me.
And doing recordings every single day. Yeah. I don't know, playing games, whatever. And I mean, I remember it was during a very kind of turbulent time for you, if I may say so, without saying the reason. But I remember we had a conversation about that and kind of grew very close because of that situation.
Definitely.
So that's kind of where I think we became really good friends, from my perspective.
So how I see it is the first interviews we were doing together was Gfinity back in 2014 when you were on Fnatic. You were already were you coaching by this point?
I think,
yeah, coaching by this point. So basically, his teammates were lazy motherfuckers, and they just sent him out for every interview. And even when Olaf or Crims came out for an interview, they sent Devilwalk with them to hold their hands or hold their dicks because they didn't have the confidence or balls to do it, even though their English was absolutely fine. And if you talked to them off camera, it was all great. It was very early esports days, but that's all real story. You literally look, every other team, even the Brazilian teams, it's me and one player. Every Fnatic interview, me, one player, Devilwalk. He's literally just there the whole time.
It wasn't because I wanted to be there every single time. No. I was very sick of it, but
it wasn't fun for him. But he was a beast. He did it all. So obviously I had mutual respect for him there, and then obviously watching him on the game. And at that point, right, he'd won the major. He'd done some incredible things. So it's I'm looking up to him thinking, okay, this guy's legit. And then obviously we just kept seeing each other, events. Then you dipped out from the tier 1 for a little bit. And then obviously, like Devil said, we did Gamers. But you know what was crazy? When I went into Gamers with people we were working with, I wasn't so close to Parla. I didn't really know some of the other talent that were working on it. I only just met Scrawny and Launders for the first time. Was it even Scrawny? Was it Scrawny and Launders? Who was? No,
yeah, I think
it was. Was it Launders?
It was Scrawny, and it was the Danish guy with the
numbers. The Danish guy we met, but he wasn't commentating. Scrawny. Let's look. Does it even include this broadcast on him? Gamers Season 2. I found it. Oh, he was commentating with Blue, who doesn't even do CS anymore.
Oh, yes.
He's like a Rainbow
Blue.
Six commentator. Yeah, okay. So I met Scrawny for the first time, who was awesome. I'll tell a funny story of that. When we did the after party, we're all going to leave to get to the... So we're in the middle of nowhere, right? We were in Skövde, which is like not even close to anything. Yeah. A tiny place within Sweden. We're obviously filming the reality TV show there. We all had a massive, crazy, after the show finished, drinking, just like it was ridiculous, right? And all of a sudden, we're about to leave, and Scrawny sees we're leaving. And obviously, he's so drunk. He's already laughing. Scrawny stands there.
I didn't know if you were going to tell this story.
Yeah, Scrawny, no, I've told it before. So Scrawny stands there, and he is completely just in the window, shaking his hand like this and waving at everyone away, and unaware that at the time he was stark bollock naked.
Yep.
And that was our farewell to Scrawny.
His towel had kind of dropped as he was waving, so he was just waving with his dick out.
But getting back onto our friendship, Spawn was the guy I knew the most when we went to that house. So he was the one I was closest to. I knew Khan a bit as well, but he was from the Fnatic side. He wasn't on the show as much. He was just like a guest sometimes. So me and Spawn knew each other really well from the 1.6 days. And obviously I was spending a lot of time with him, but as Devilwalk said, we got more closer through just conversations, what I was going through, things that were happening. And it became just a good friendship from there. We kept in touch from playing CS and just getting involved in things. Then obviously I saw you do what you did with No Chance and going into that, like the whole career arc you went on. And then we just stayed in touch ever since. So we
obviously
built on understanding.
Got even closer during the B&E days.
Yes, because I brought you into B&E. By the way, that was my greatest win ever. There's like, they wanted a new coach. We're at the same event. You were an analyst at the time. I'm like, Devilwalk, let me pitch you this idea. Can you coach these crazy Kosovo Albanians to improve beyond what they've been at? And you did a good job. It was not easy, but you did a good job.
It was not an easy job, not at all.
No.
But a fun one. I loved every second of it.
But it had to be you to be able to do that. So, like they needed a certain type of person, and some people couldn't handle it. Like even me as a manager couldn't handle some of the things. So yeah, that was crazy times. And that's it. That's all of our Q&A questions. So cool. You get to go and watch and hope that Spurs win and don't get relegated.
Yeah, Everton is in attack right now, so my heart is like outside of my body.
There you go. But we do need to announce this, Devilwalk. In 2 days' time, we are filming and the start of our major run of episodes and guests and podcasts. NRG Grim is going to be the first guest joining us. And I'll promise you this, we have been reaching out to everyone. I'm not working the major. Devilwalk's not working the major. So we are grinding out episodes with guests. We will have some epic guests on who will tell you stuff and be in a more relaxed environment than anything you'll see on the broadcast, delivered right here on the All About Counter-Strike podcast. Hopefully you guys enjoy it because we are really cooking with it all. Still running with no sponsors, no anything else. We're just doing it on our own way. So do hit the like, subscribe, turn on that notification thing as well to make sure you see when these announcements are coming. But plenty more episodes coming soon during the Cologne Major. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode.